Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. Yeah, we Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Rick flaring, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. One eye open like Betty Wops, they find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders, trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness is really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us. We Rick flaring on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah. Rick flaring on him. Rick flaring on him. Rick flaring on him. Rick flaring, son up, baby.
Hey yo, Scotty, we back. Yo, appreciate you for reaching out.
You are the only
I'm like, hey, it's outspoken. A lot changed, granted the concept we still hosting. Giving you the fix you need when on the screen. The veteran, Captain Petty, giving you medicine. Come tap in, you know Scott gon' do what he do. Might not want to hear it, but here go the hard truth. Perry about the numbers, regret if you're not fact-based. When you run your lane, the numbers seem like a statue. Wait. Hey, Scotty, man, I'm not feeling it. I don't think the people feeling it. Let me get in my bag a little bit, just showing what this outspoken really about to be like. Outspoken, this is more than conjecture. These days they laying people off, so glad that we got our own. Hunger insatiable, made for you if you say you objective. Hard truth offering, no offense, just perspective. Come get your dosage and go with me. We spit it like poetry. The pivot was pivotal, could rhyme here, but I'd rather not. Some say Scotty, some call him Scott, the best one since Stewart. If you know, then you know, but if you don't, then you're lost. Let me be frank for a minute, cause we all know that's how Perry be. Breaking down the game for what it was, no apologies. This my hypothesis, you tune in, you like watching it. It's common sense, obvious, competent, rugged, and confident. Hey, we outspoken. We outspoken. Outspoken.
Hey, back. I think we got another one. They think we can do it.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? You already know what it is. It's Monday night. Listen, nobody got theme songs as hot as me. Boy, I'm like the 90s era for theme songs. You know, like Cousin Skeeter, you know, all that. You know what I'm saying? What, you know, Keenan and Kel. I'm in that level. I'm on that level. But you already know what it is. It's Monday night. My man, Perry, was hella late, but you already know it wouldn't be Perry if he wasn't. Give it up for my co-host, Perry White! Hey, man, you know what's crazy, Perry? Y'all didn't even play this week to lose, man. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up, man. You know, you got to sit back and watch other people lose. You're like, man, this how this feel? This how this feel?
Yep. This is how this feel. People don't understand my life, Scotty.
I mean, nobody knows it. They only see you on here or, you know, in them southern streets. So explain to people why you 30 minutes late.
So, first of all, y'all don't understand that I am an official. We have meetings. Second of all, it's been a busy day for me, right? I've been in New Orleans. I had the Bayou Classic press conference. I had to stand in for the Jaguar football show today. So there's a lot going on. So y'all bear with me, all right?
Oh, that's big money. That's big money. Hey, listen, Perry, I don't know.
Big money, but it is what it is.
I don't know how long you've been watching the show.
I've been doing this show. What you mean watching this show? I've been doing this show.
I'm talking about like watching me watch the show. You know, like watching the off script, but it's outspoken, but just off script in general. I don't know how long you've been watching, but there's a song that, you know, I like to play on those good old days and sing it if you know it. I'm so glad that they got their ass whooped. Sing it if you know it. I'm so glad that they got their ass whooped. I'm so glad that they got their ass whooped. Singing glory, hallelujah. Woo! They got their ass whooped. Man, this is a beautiful Monday. It's a beautiful Monday in the streets of Outspoken and Off Script, man. I'm so glad, man. It's nothing better. It's nothing better than a great Monday.
Be ready to get the information and news, but at the same time, y'all bear with me, right? I love y'all just as much as y'all may hate me, and it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. But, you know, listen. When Jackson State, Powell State. When Powell State loses, it's always a great Monday for me. But let's get right into the show. All right, let's get to some hot and viral. Straight off the presses. Listen. Alcorn has fired 2 white men, not one.
What are we doing here tonight? What are we doing?
Not one white man. Oh, no. They didn't stop there. They fired 2 white men today at the unemployment line. Just clap it up. Let's give it up for Alcorn.
Is that what this is all about today?
On that HBCU dominance.
Man.
They let go of their offensive coordinator and they let go of their special teams coach, Lane Powell. First of all, both of these Bamas was absolutely ass. So, I mean, like, let's call a spade a spade. The OC, the play calling for the past couple years was not the part, and the special teams for Alcorn had lost them games. That's how bad that had gotten. It was losing them games and situations. So, Perry, what you got to say about the mighty big bad Braves letting go of 2 of their coaches today?
I think you look at Fred McNair trying to be in a position he understands that when they took on Texas Southern, that was not the showing that they needed to show.
I'm sorry. What he said Fred McNair, the first black man to fire 2 white men on the same day. Black excellence. I'm sorry, Fred.
I look
I'm
at
sorry.
it. I look at it as in a situation where you got a coach like Fred McNair who has been around. He's been a SWAC coach of the year numerous times. His team has won SWAC championships. You talk about SWAC Western division implications on the line this season, and they found themselves on the back end of it, and it cost them ultimately postseason play. When you look at them against possibly could have been Florida A&M, they got the win against Jackson State, but falling short against Texas Southern puts them in the situation. And did you think it was going to possibly be said, Thomas, in this situation? But did you know that it was going to go down this way?
No, I definitely listen. I didn't know. It was just something about Elliott that I didn't understand why he was around. You know me, I stay firing coaches. I wanted him let go the season where the first season Dion played the Soul Bowl at Jackson, and the play calling there was atrocious because I think his name was Stafford Anderson. He could, Perry, I don't know if you saw the game. The Bama couldn't be stopped that year, bro. Like Jackson State had no answer for Stafford, and he took the ball out of his hands and he had Felix throwing it around the yard. I'm like, yo, don't nobody. Yo, I was in the Jackson side. They was like, man, don't nobody want to tackle that boy. And it was a boy. Man, Perry, I'm telling you, I was hot. And from that point forward, I was like, that Bama need to be let go.
And I know you early on in the season, you were real critical of Alcorn State's offense and what they were able to do. But Alcorn's offense with Aaron Allen seemed like they kind of progressed and they got in a situation where it put them in the SWAC West hunt once again. But that's showing against that's showing against Texas Southern, I think, kind of laid out everything for us and put it in perspective. And I think when you put this in a situation where Alcorn State had an opportunity to wrap up the SWAC West, all they had to do was get a victory against a struggling Texas Southern team who had given teams fits the past few weeks of the season with Ladarius Owens. They wasn't able to get it done, and they ended up in a situation missing out on the SWAC West title.
Yeah, and it's tough, you know, when you control your own destiny, you gotta keep that foot on the pedal and bring it on through. But once again, monumental moment. 2 white men, not one, 2 white men let go from HBCU today. Black excellence, as my man said. Black excellence. I love it. All right, moving forward. This one's gonna ruffle some feathers, but that's what we do here on Outspoken. Listen, if you haven't seen Twitter, somebody's getting in the portal from the NCAT right now. Somebody is jumping in the portal right now from NCAT. That's how quickly these Bamas are getting in the portal. Vincent Brown, listen, I've been looking at some Twitter, and the alums are not happy. I will say that. They are not happy. 1-10, 0 conference wins. So they went lost. Is that a word? Lossless? No wins. Let's just say no.
Just say winless.
Winless. There you go. Winless.
Yeah.
In the CAA, which they beg, borrow, and deal to try to get over there. And my man Dave, shout out to Dave and the Aggie Supremacists. They said the whole team leaving, and Dave says, as the optimist he is, and I wish them all luck. I'm not surprised at all at the number of transfers coming. Don't think the fan base can stomach another 1-10 season regardless of the conference. Perry, you have seen the height of heights from NCAT, and now they are at the lowest of lows. What's next for NCAT?
You know, it's interesting. NCAT leave after their dominance in the MEAC, after their dominance in the Celebration Bowl. They go off and go into the Big South Conference. They move over from the Big South Conference and go into the CAA. And they struggled this year, 1-10 overall on the season. Tough in that conference. I don't know what the future looks like. You talk about my man right here as the head coach. I'm not sure what the future looks like, but he had to make a move in order for us to get a different perspective on the future. And I'll be interested to see as they move forward what NCAT looks like, because the height of NCAT was HBCU football dominance. They were a team. It didn't matter if you was FBS or at the top of the class in FCS when they beat Jacksonville State. They beat Eastern Carolina and a host of other schools. But to end up in this situation right here, this is unprecedented when you talk about North Carolina A&T. And they're in a position to try to reinsert themselves back there. But I'm not sure what success looks like for them right now, post Sam Washington, post Rob Broadway, and moving in a new direction with their head coach and trying to figure out how this staff is going to get together and find success in their new conference?
Oh man, listen, from the day, because I'm telling you, them NCAT people, they got that Dallas Cowboy argument, right? They line up them celebration bowls. They line up them celebration bowls, and they be over there, yeah, but you don't have these. You be like, what do those even matter for you anymore? They don't even matter anymore, if we're being honest, because you in a whole new conference that don't care nothing about the celebration bowl.
No.
Nothing.
FCS playoffs, man. This is where it is. That conference has found a way to find some teams into the FCS playoffs to move forward, and we'll get into it later in the show. But NCAT, not one of those teams. But a few years ago, had NCAT been in this position, you would say NCAT had a possible situation to be a team that can maybe make it deep into the FCS playoffs. But right now, who they are in terms of their identity, we don't know. They can't pass the ball. They struggled on offense all season. And what you found is them with a team being one win on the entire 2023 football season. And North Carolina A&T football fans have to be in a position to look at their team and evaluate what the situation that they're in right now, say, where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? And as an alums, listen, man, I don't say you always got to go back to your ex-girlfriend. But sometimes you just messed up a situation. Sometimes it was you. Sometimes it wasn't the girl. Sometimes it was you. So maybe when you get your shit together, you go back to that ex-girl and say, you know what? Let's try it again. Let's do this the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Her. Whether she wants to bring you back or she says, you know what? You messed up one too many times and I cannot bring you back. So that's the position that they in right now.
You wanted to be with Becky, go be with Becky, okay?
They have to find themselves and who they are, because once again, like I've been saying for weeks, it is a complete travesty to see where this program has fallen. One win? Come on, Scotty. North Carolina A&T was the toast of HBCU football just a few years ago. It seemed like they could not be stopped when it came to play against FCS playoff potential teams. When you look at a Jacksonville State at that time versus anybody, right? We looked forward to that North Dakota State matchup that they had against North Carolina A&T, but it came a couple years a little bit too late. And now you look at this program and you wonder, where is this program going to go from here? Of course, they're making changes and they need to make changes, because right now, if you're an A&T Aggie fan, Aggie pride, as they say, right? You got to understand, where are we going to go? What are you laughing about?
The Aggie pride?
Aggie pride. I've been to a Celebration Bowl or two, right? And North Carolina A&T was in attendance and they were in the house, and they were at one time one of the best teams to go against in Black college football and FCS football. But right now, including where they at, man, it is a struggle to watch them struggle. And I can't believe they have fallen this far to where only one win on the season. This is not conducive to Aggie football, and it is a little bit different to see them in this position.
Mr. Levesque got that Aggie pride. Man, we've been here before. We've been trash before. Relax, we good, okay? We've been trash before. But let me ask you this before you move on.
Mm-hmm.
How bad of a look is it that MEAC has two teams, one in the Celebration Bowl, one in the playoffs, and NCAT is not in either? Like, in the division wise, because people talk about the competition that, the MEAC was not doing or was not a part of, or not being able to get into FCS playoffs. I mean, you had NCCU at the height of them. I think they were ranked number 6 or number 7. Now they're in the playoffs. How does that look on the hindsight?
NCAT or North Carolina Central?
No, for NCAT.
NCAT, this is a tough situation. This is uncharted territory for that fan base who has seen success. This is uncharted territory of a fan base who was rocking and rolling for 4 or 5 years in a row, and now to be in this position. And you saw the stories come out earlier this year with Tyreek Cohen and many others saying what we need to do in order to get ourselves back in position. I think the CAA is a tougher conference than they realize, moving over from the Big South and ultimately moving away from the MEAC. And now that you're starting to see yourself struggle up and down of a conference that's really tough, they need to find some success. This year was not success. It was a tough road to climb. And this team and this fan base are looking for success. And right now, they just simply don't have it, Scotty.
They don't. They listen. That Space Jam water is not working. Okay,
Yeah.
they gotta let that thing is not it. All right, let's do the game of the week recap. Now, I know who I picked, right? But let me just say this: I was very high on Howard. I was. I had rolled with Howard through the dark times that you was out here, Scotty. I don't give points for losing, and I don't give this, and I don't give this, Scotty.
Well, Scotty,
and
let me clarify, please, because
Go
when
ahead.
you were high on them, they was doing their non-conference play. They just started conference play a couple weeks ago. It don't take much in the MEAC, and one falter, as we've seen, can cost you an entire season of everything and whatever you've done. And it does not matter how you start; it matters how you finish. And for Howard in this situation, 14-7, come on, look closer to the camera then. Come on, look closer. Look closer. Then look closer. Come on. It is about how you finish in Black college football when you're looking at getting a Celebration Bowl berth. And fortunately for Howard, they got hot at the right time. They were able to run through their conference. An unfortunate loss early on, but being able to dominate North Carolina Central, put them in this position. And when you look at them against Morgan State's defense, all season we have pretty much put them at the top of Black college football and one of the best defense in all of FCS football. And you saw, but you know what, Morgan State, 7 points. It is tough when you're talking about playing offensive ball in Morgan State. And I'll jump right into it and we can roll with it. 9 first downs. You know what Morgan went in this game in third down efficiency? 1 of 11, Scotty, on third down efficiency. Yep.
Hey, listen, there were some bad drops. I'm talking about just you and Jesus hit you dead in the hands, and they dropped that joker. It was some really bad drops, but go ahead. It was a really
1 of 11 on third downs. They had a tough time at converting and keeping offensive drives going. Only 260 total yards for Morgan State in this game. 144 in the air, 116 on the ground. They did a good job in not turning the ball over, but that was not enough. On the other side for Howard, they did just enough, right? 25 first downs in this ball game, right? 5 of 15 on third downs, 382 total yards, 143 in the air, 239 on the ground. They had 1 turnover by way of fumble. But you look at Quinn Williams, a modest day, 12 of 22, 143 yards, 10 carries, 36 yards and a touchdown. Jared Hunter, 20 carries, 108 yards, Scotty, 1 touchdown. Eden James, of course, we know who he is by the last name. James, Edrin James' son, 16 carries, 90 yards. And Casey Hawthorne, 14 receptions, 52 yards on the other side. You know who was pretty much doing everything he could for Morgan State?
Todd Smith.
No, their punter, man. Beckett Larry.
Oh, my God.
318 yards. He was trying to...
MVP.
Trying to force Howard to stretch the entire field, but unfortunately they weren't able to do it. But a bright spot, Travian Pratt, 1 reception, 28 yards, a touchdown. Morgan State's offense, and I watched this game from beginning to end, really struggling. They had plenty of times where they made key stops against Howard in the first half and going into the second half, but they just cannot find a way to get into the end zone.
Absolutely. Let me take some of these calls from A&T and some Aggie fans that are very upset. A&T Roy, thought you might have lost my number.
Oh, no, man. I'm good, man. We good.
Now, what's going on, A&T Roy? Talk to me.
Okay, so I got 3 quick things. Number 1, I know last week you said that I sound like the Cowboys talking about what we've done and all that stuff, but that's all I got, Scotty. I'm not in there anymore, so I'm going to use that until somebody does better. Okay?
A&T Roy, if you guys listen, it's very simple. There's only 5 teams. Mathematically speaking, in 10 years, somebody's going to be better than you. But if that's what you want to, just mathematically, it's 5 years. If each one won a championship, well, you can take out Delaware State, take out Norfolk State. That means either Morgan, Howard, or NCCU. They're going to win more than 1 Celebration Bowl, and they're going to beat you. But if that's what you want to live on it. It's cool. Live on it.
Okay. But here's my argument always. If you don't have 4, you're not better than us. And within that 4, if you don't have 3 in a row, you're not better than us. That's all I'm saying.
You have to win 3 in a row to be better than you? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, that's a good thing, right? I mean, that's a big deal to win 3 in a row. Somebody don't win 3 in a row. I'm like, hey, I won 3 in a row. All right, let me go to my second point. This is the final analysis on our football team. I just heard y'all talking about it because I couldn't get on when you first started. The reality is that in addition to having a head coach who's never been a head coach.
That's on you.
Basically a new coaching. Yeah, it is. And basically a whole new coaching staff, except for 2. The big deal for us is that we were young, inexperienced, and light, especially on our defensive line. That's the big deal for us.
A&T,
okay.
Listen, bro.
Yeah.
That's on your defensive coaching, right? Like if you know this is my issue. If you know you're light in something, why run a system that doesn't fit your players? That doesn't make any sense. But continue. Your last point. Continue your last point.
My last point is a question for Perry. So Perry, I heard a Florida A&M person call last week after I got off the call, and they were touting beating us 2 times in the regular season in 18 and 19, as if those victories were better than the Celebration Bowl. So what I want to ask you is, would you rather go to the Celebration Bowl and win? Matter of fact, just maybe even go. But I'll say and win, or lose to the 3rd ranked rival in your conference in regular season.
If you ask me, I'd rather go to the Celebration Bowl and win. You talk about the marketing aspect of what it does for your program. You've seen it for Alcorn, Grambling. You've seen it for North Carolina Central, and you've seen it for North Carolina A&T. You want to get in that ball game because of the national exposure in which it gives you primetime television. And the fact that North Carolina A&T simply moved away from that to go to another FCS conference, which was the Big South their first year out, and then ultimately moved to the CAA, they disassociated themselves from an opportunity to be able to push themselves forward and continue to get that publicity. Now, me personally, I would have continued to ride that way because clearly that wave worked for you in terms of your enrollment of your institution, and that wave worked for you for your fan base, and that wave worked for you in terms of recruiting. But now you put yourself in a position where what do you have? You don't make the playoffs, you win 1 game, and you struggle even in competition that you played against, along with the CAA competition in your conference that you played against, and you couldn't even beat the teams like Hampton. So I have to say, man, you have to be able to do better as North Carolina A&T to put yourself in a position for your brand, because at the end of the day, what matters most? It's your brand, it's the marketing aspect, and it's the money that comes along with winning your conference championship and as well as the Celebration Bowl.
Cool. So, yes.
Thank you for the call. I'm not. He said I got 3 things. I gave him his 3 things and get off my call line. Mr. Levette, coming to you.
I hate. Listen,
hey, what's up, Scotty, man?
What's up, Mr. Levette? Talk to me.
I'm not even going to address those points that Roy just came up with. I got to ask a serious question to you and other people in the chat talking trash. Can somebody explain to me why the MEAC is so great? I've heard you time and time again talk about Commissioner Sonia Stillis and Dennis Thomas and their bad business acumen. We walk away from that, and now we're the bad guys. If I remember correctly, 6 schools left the MEAC, right?
That is
not
correct.
Just us.
That's correct.
Where they smoke at? Where they smoke at?
Well, I mean,
wait, Scotty, before you get started, ask him, name those 6 schools.
Winston-Salem State, Savannah State, Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, Hampton, and A&T.
All right. Before you move forward, we saw what happened with Winston-Salem State, right? They went back to their level and they found success for a short time under Cornell Maynard. Since then, they have not quite found.
Why did they leave, Terry? They left because they wasn't making enough money in the MEAC, right?
Listen to me.
So if the MEAC is so great, shouldn't the MEAC be providing financial opportunities for them to grow and develop?
Hold on, right? You asked the question. I want to answer that. It was tough for them. The same way we saw Savannah State, right? it just was not the time for Winston-Salem or Savannah State to compete at the Division I level, because you thought success on the Division II level can transpire and ultimately become success on the Division I level, FCS. We saw for Savannah State, we saw the tumultuous non-conference schedule that they had to go through just to break even when it comes to picking up checks, the opponents that they played against, and it was tough. But they still found ways to win a few games. Winston-Salem State, we saw now where they're at. You talked about Bethune-Cookman. You talked about Florida A&M. Obviously, it did not matter for Florida A&M because look at the situation that they're in. They're in a SWAC championship game. Can I explain the SWAC championship game? If you're able to put yourself in a position to host the SWAC championship game, that is added revenue to your athletic budget. That is added revenue when you look at the overall expenditure of the exposure that you get for hosting that game, and as well as that one extra game that you get to keep everything pretty much in the can, right? Bethune-Cookman is just a program that's struggling. Unfortunately, Ed Reed put them in the situation to struggle because clearly there was some miscommunication between Ed Reed and Bethune-Cookman athletic department, in which they're still struggling. And the last team you mentioned, Hampton. You look at Hampton. Hampton was the first team to jet out. They thought maybe they can find success in the other sports aside from football because of who they are, with the arrogance that they are and the bourgeoisie niche that they have. And they found out quick and early, it does not work that way when you move on to another conference in which the bouginess that you think you are is just another team around the block in the CAA. All right. So I understand what you mean, but you got to make it make sense to me when they talk about the exposure, the added opportunity of going to the SWAC championship, in which you saw Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M move over to the SWAC, and the overall idea of what you can do for the marketing perspective for your school.
I hear what you're saying. I just don't see the financial gain of the MEAC. I can see in the SWAC and McClellan is bringing in new sponsors. McClellan is bringing in secondary TV deals. I see none of this in the MEAC. Well, we're supposed to stay with inept leadership, but when we leave to go somewhere else, we're people talk trash about it. That doesn't make sense to me. Why would you? It's like sitting in a church with a pastor that you know that is sleeping with all the women in the church, but you still giving this man his respect. Bad business is bad business. Period in the story.
Listen, I agree with you, right? So I do agree with you. I just say at the end of the day, I'm just like the CAA. I don't think that's a great decision on your part as an INCAF. I don't think that's a great decision on your part. My thing is, I think like the OVC, the Big South, I think that's a perfect situation for you all. I think that's like right in the middle between we like football, we take football seriously, but we don't have the budgets to compete with the CAAs and the Villanovas and the ELA. We don't have those budgets. So I thought that would have been a great stopping point for you all. But you guys jumping into the CAA and now being literally irrelevant, how much does that benefit you? So the real question is, yes, I get the bad business practice of that. I understand that. My thing is, would you have rather been a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond, and now that pond looks like it's about to drown you?
It makes sense. Hindsight is 2020.
Facts.
I like the Big South. We left the Big South because it kind of imploded while we were there. We kind of got scared. We got to go because before this is looking bad. Like this is looking really bad because they got 2 schools, I think now, like 2 real schools. The rest of them are in that joint Mungo conference, whatever. But just wanted to say comments. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Listen, I just want to give my closing statement. Listen, if you know anything about Ante, we had a guy there named Lee Fobbs. He's a Graham graduate. That's Broderick Fobbs' dad. We had the longest losing streak in NCAA history, number 2 behind Prairie View. Broadway came in. He rebuilt the program. We won 5 MEAC titles, 4 Celebration Bowls. It's going to be okay. You're going to see a bunch of transfers. We're going to rebuild this thing, and we'll be back. So just keep watching, and let's remember these comments in about 2 to 3 years.
Question for you, Mr.
Scotty, I appreciate what you do, man.
Wait. One question before you go. How long was that rebuild? I mean, like, how long were you?
4 years.
How many years?
It was 4 years, I believe.
Of just straight losing?
No, Broadway. He lost his first year He won like 5. I think he went 5-6 his first year, and then he went 7-3, and then he started winning like 9-2, 8-3, stuff like that.
I'm not talking about Broadway. I'm talking about Lee Fobbs. I'm talking about him. How long were you losing with him?
That was 2.5 years. We went 0-27 over 2.5 years.
Okay, so I want to get my age. I'm just trying to get my age right to when I'm gonna see NCAT win again. I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, 3 years. Listen, we had to play Johnson C. Smith to get a win. Anything you know about Johnson C. Smith at that time was one of the bottom CIAA schools. They had 10 football scholarships.
All right, Mr. Levette, appreciate you.
Ivan.
All right. Yeah, I wanted to get the age and the year right. You know what I'm saying? My son will probably be in middle school.
Scotty, the harsh reality for them to realize now that when you leave the neighborhood of what you dominated in, you go out into the other folks' neighborhood, you realize you're not the same. And it is a harsh reality for them to realize that they're not the same. And because they're not the same, they made coaching changes, they made conference changes, and they thought for them it was going to be better to put them on a platform to move up. Think about it. You won Celebration Bowl after Celebration Bowl. Think about it. You won MEAC championship after MEAC championship. You thought the grass was green on the other side for you to be able to then elevate your program and move forward to possibly move up. Let's be real about the move on why North Carolina A&T left the MEAC. This whole idea of leaving the MEAC was it's going to elevate us, it's going to propel us to be able to possibly move better than where we were before. And what they found out in the harsh reality is it is not the best move, and it has not elevated them anywhere. If anything, it is taking them back. They had momentum, and they had marketing, aspiration, and dreams to be better than what I think they thought they were. If you go back to the MEAC, you may have a chance. And I say may because they lost against MEAC teams this year. Right?
Yeah, except Norfolk.
Except Norfolk. But still, you give yourself a fighting chance in a conference that is tough to get an FCS playoff bid, in which the CAA this year has 2 teams that has now officially made themselves in the FCS playoff. Unless you win that conference and outright is better than everybody else, what do you really have? And I think for A&T, they thought they were better than what they were, but to rebuild with a new coach and try to put this thing in a different perspective, this was not what they thought it was going to be. And the harsh reality is they're starting to see that this is not what we thought it was. And I wish we probably would have stayed where we were at.
When I hear NCAT, and we're going to move on. When I hear NCAT and I think about the MEAC, I think about Dave Chappelle when he played Prince, and he was just like, just come on. Just go on. Unity. You know what I'm saying? Like, just come on back. It's all right. Listen, I agree. I don't think Sandra's the best business savvy commissioner, but listen, man. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone. All right, last point. So Morgan State. Listen, this game was heartbreaking, right? Because I was really torn. You know, it's called the Battle of the Beltway. I was really torn because I wanted to rock with Morgan. You know, really Howard is more DMV than Morgan because Morgan's in Baltimore. If you know, you know. I ain't got time to explain that. But it's something about Morgan. I like Damon. I like Sewell. Them guys are from around the way. They from PG. You know what I'm saying? PG County straight up. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they're there, but they're not there. They're there, but they're not there. And if they can just, if they right that ship offensively, this is a team you don't want to see. And I was talking to my boy Banks last night, and the thing what Morgan has to look forward towards next year is that a lot of the senior-led quarterbacks, they're gone. Davius, moving on. I think Q Will's a senior, moving on. Right? So those teams that you had to deal with that were senior-led quarterbacks, everybody's about to be in the bucket of who is our guy. And I think that's going to benefit Morgan State going forward. But Morgan State, I think they could have pulled this game off. The OC, horrible play calling. I mean, never moved the pocket, didn't do no wide receiver screens, didn't really help Todd Smith out in any capable way in this game. I think a lot can be blamed on him, but defensively, Morgan State looks stout. And you know, once again, MEAC, SWAC refs, they're bad. They called a bad offside call, kept the drive going, and pretty much ended the game for them. But great game. A low scoring game like I knew it would be, but tough loss to Morgan.
Congratulations to Howard
was
right? You've been high on this team all year. Did I drink the Kool-Aid? I didn't, but we knew it had to get into conference play. And once they got into conference play, they found ways to win, and they asserted themselves to get that revenge game. And that was the difference making of the whole entire season. One game, Scotty, one game against North Carolina Central, the fact that they were able to double back and hold North Carolina Central accountable for the words that Trey Oliver said in the MEAC preseason when they had MEAC conference day, and he wanted to know why did they have a ring, and why was the reason of anybody even mentioning the fact that we should have a MEAC championship game when we hung 50 plus points on them the previous year. And those words came back to hunt them with Howard coming back and getting a 30-point victory over North Carolina Central. And because you only played 5 conference games in the MEAC, one loss, it showed this season that it can change the entire flex of the season. Don't matter what North Carolina Central did the entire season. It only took one game. And shout out to Howard for standing up, being able to put themselves in a position to defend themselves and win convincingly, and then go on to defeat Morgan State, who played them very tough. If anybody I watched this game from beginning to end. Morgan State's defense stood stout, but the problem was Morgan State's offense kept putting them in situations which it was just hard to come away from. Morgan State has to find a quarterback, and they have to find a way to get some offense. The day Morgan State finds some offense, then they will be a team that can be reckoned with in the MEAC. But until then, Howard had just enough with Quinn Williams and their offense to be able to get it done. And when you look at the run game with Jared Hunter and Eden James, along with Quinn Williams, it was just too much. And then you factor in Casey Hawthorne. It was just a little bit too much for Morgan State to stand in.
Now, Drake West, he got to be a Bison. Shout out to him. Got another class ring. That's something else that Trey Oliver said. And Ray Lewis coming to Orangeburg, big time high. Now, if this is true, absolutely, I love it. I absolutely love it. I think he's a perfect fit, but have not had any confirmations on that. All right, let's move on to Week 12 recaps. And callers, I will get to you after our recap. All right. Oh, look like that boy running away with it.
Oh, goddamn.
Oh, man. Look like I'm running away. 76 went 7-4. My man went back-to-back 6-5. It's tough out here in these streets. Games are dwindling down. Wins are coming at a premium. But once again, I survived. All right, let's look at these picks. Man, listen. Ooh, this Jake was ugly. Texas Southern gets whopped by UAPB. Alabama State loses to PV. Norfolk State just, Buddy Pugh said, take this and hold it. All right, take this and hold it. That's APO. Take this L. And as always, I sweep the white people. As always, I sweep with the white people. Bro, you need to leave Hampton alone. You need to leave Hampton alone.
Why do you do me? Christopher Zealous. First of all, stop. Blow me up.
I got you.
Blow me up. Christopher Zealous, what's going on, bro? The first 4 games of the season, you were a guy I was really high on. I was putting you as one of my most dynamic quarterbacks because of your dual threat ability. But the number one thing you do, Christopher Zealous, you turn the ball over, bro. If you can just stop turning the ball over, Hampton would have an opportunity when it comes to football games. But unfortunately, you are a turnover machine. Elijah Burris at the running back position has showed all season he can do what he has to do in order to make this a balanced offense. But Christopher Zealous, you got to be able to open up the passing game, and you got to limit your turnovers by giving the other team the ball, whether it's by fumble or interception. That has completely hampered Hampton from being able to move forward. And unfortunately, I continue to believe in you, but you're going to make me really reevaluate next year how I feel about Hampton Pirates.
We shall see.
And I am done. Luckily, it's y'all last game. I am done. I went to spring football to see what Hampton does moving forward. All right.
All right. Let's get back into it. Wild Wild West. Prairie View West champs. Shout out to them. Let's give it up for PV. You know, coming up. Let's give it up. Yeah. All right. Up north. BAC champs. Yeah, they pulled it out. You know, Howard, you know, I was high on him. You know, I'm not gonna point no elbows to see he was dogging me out every week. But you know, it's all right. Yeah, man. That member down there. You know what I'm saying? Let's get to some of these games. All right, Valley, A&M Thursday night matchup. Listen, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think A&M has had the most Thursday night games out of anybody this year. At least 2 or 3 have been on Thursday night. It's not like anybody was watching them, but I get it. Quincy Casey, 12 of 20, 170, a touchdown and interception. Donovan Eaglin goes dumb for his final game. 27 carries, 270 yards, 2 tubs. Valley brought back in the freshman. Tajarian Williams goes 10 of 18, 223, two touchdowns and interception. And Kirik Ross, 3 receptions, 94 yards and a touchdown. What you got, P?
Big win for Alabama A&M to end the season. Mississippi Valley 2 of 10, 268 yards. Total yards in this game, 2 of 10 on third down, 223 passing yards, 45 rushing. But you know what hurt Valley in this game? The turnover ratio. 5 turnovers, 4 fumbles, and 1 interception. You do that, it'll take you out of a ball game, right? For A&M, 19 first downs, 8 of 17 on third down, 434 total yards, 170 in the air, and they got back to what they do on the ground. They find ways to get the ball and run the ball. 264 on the ground, 2 interceptions, but also Jacoby Hewitt, 4 receptions for 115 yards. He didn't get into the end zone, but you're talking about being able to make big plays to move your team down the field and then allow the run game to open up. You ultimately saw the Bulldogs of A&M making up from last year's loss at Itabena and getting a victory against Mississippi Valley. Do I say this is a big win? No, it is not, because it was against Valley, a team who has struggled up and down all season. I'm curious to see what your boy, the athletic director at Alabama A&M, what does he do now when he sit at the table and he look at Connell Maynard's body of work and he say, can we move forward with you and give you an extension and say there's growth, or do we move forward and say you done all you can do, it's time for us to move on?
Well, I'll tell you, it was close to being a Black Friday on Twitter for A&M. It was Bama's getting fired left and right. You didn't know what coach was safe and what coach was not safe. But it seems like A&M is bringing these guys back. DT Maynard for another round. I don't know who else has been let go on the A&M side of the ball, but I do know for a fact that Connell Maynard and DT will get another chance to do whatever they do well. And A&M fans, y'all still living off that 3-game SWAC championship. Y'all need to let that go. I'm gonna just let y'all know right there. Yeah, just go ahead and let that go, because that ain't what it is. All right. But from what I've been told by some players from A&M, it might be a lot of kids in the portal. It might be a lot of kids jumping in the portal from Alabama A&M. We'll see what that looks like going forward. This game right here, I want to be very clear. It was 13-34 going into the fourth quarter, and UAPB had 22 points unanswered. Mekhi Higgins, 15 of 37, 193 yards and a touchdown. Ladarius Owens continues to build upon his all-time leading rushing stat at Texas Southern, goes for 25 carries, 143 yards. And once again, he says, Perry, hold these 3 touchdowns. What you got, Peace, on you?
I'm glad he answered that bell, because against Florida A&M, Southern, and Jackson State, he has 0 touchdowns. You lose by 10 points to Florida A&M. You lose by a touchdown to Southern University. You lose by 2 points to Jackson State. Just imagine a touchdown in each one of those games. You perhaps have Texas Southern in a whole different conversation, because he's their entire offense. But UAPB, congratulations. Pine Bluff, Arkansas, you're on the map for 1 week out of the entire season. You get your first Division I victory on the entire season, right? And I'm a Pine Bluff guy. Pine Bluff High graduate, attended UAPB. I'm glad they were able to get this victory, because early on when I saw this game, I thought it was over with. Did you think it was over with? With a Southern shirt.
with a Southern shirt. I thought it was over. I ain't gonna lie. I
All right. I thought it was over with, but Palm Bluff gets 20 first downs, 415 on third downs, 391 total yards in this game, 193 in the air, 198 on the ground. They had one turnover by way of a fumble. Texas Southern on the other side, 18 first downs, 6 of 16 on third downs, 337 yards in total offense, 143 in the air, 194 on the ground. They had 2 fumbles in this ball game. You talked about Mekhi Higgins. You talked about his passing games, but how about 11 carries for 49 yards and 2 touchdowns, Scotty?
Yeah,
he was able to get it done on the ground, and that last touchdown going into the fourth quarter was able to get UAPB above. But then you look at Jace Williams, 18 of 32, 143 yards. Ladarius Owens, 25 carries, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns. I talked about him just 2 weeks ago. I said, man, if you want to be the offensive player of the year, it's not about your yards, but it's about your touchdowns. How can you get yourself into the end zone and give your team a chance to win? He did everything he could in this game, and once again, he is all that they have when you talk about the offensive side of the ball. The only thing I think is going to hamper him from Offensive Player of the Year was, once again, those 3 games. FAMU, Southern, and Jackson. Opportunities in which he got big yards, but unfortunately, he was not able to get in the end zone. And had he got into the end zone, you're talking about a difference maker in the Southern game and for sure the Jackson State game. Florida A&M up in the air, but still, it would have gave you a better possibility, option to win that game. But I'm still, Ladarius Owens, I'm impressed with you. You're the all-time leading rusher in Texas Southern history. But there was no reason for Coach Clarence McKinney and the Texas Southern Tigers to lose this game, giving up 22 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, you heard all week that, hey, Texas Southern wanted to move on from Clarence McKinney. Then you had the people, the administration come and say, hey, not so fast. I thought maybe had he got this victory, it may have bought him a little time. But you give up 22 unanswered points in this game. You lose this game to a winless Pine Bluff on the FBS level, right? FCS level, excuse me. Division I level. At this point, their only win in the entire season was a 1-point victory to Miles, and now their only win against a Division I opponent is a 1-point victory against Texas Southern. Crazy shit, man.
I listen, man. This one, I feel like the SWAC people are gonna get this wrong, but I don't see how Ladarius Owens should not win OPOY. And I know it's tough because he's on a bad team, but you can't tell me nobody that's more impactful for their team than Ladarius Owens. And you can, I'll take him over Musa. The only person I'll put him in the same category is Keyshawn Johnson from Alabama State. That's the only person, but Keyshawn doesn't have the production. I don't even think he's over 1,000 yards receiving, right? So I feel like SWAC voters are going to F this up royally because that's just what they do, because a lot of them don't really watch football. But Ladarius Owens has to be OPOY, because if it's the offensive player of the, it ain't team, it ain't a team award, it's a offensive player. He, to me, is the best player in the SWAC, and it's not even close, in my personal opinion.
I just thought it would have helped his case getting a touchdown against FAMU, Southern, and Jackson. Had he, at least with the yardage that he had, Scotty, been able to get a touchdown against those 3 teams, because he started the season slow. And midway through the season, he really blossomed and took off. But for me, I just think, and he answered the bell. Ladarius Owens, if you're watching, anybody that you know watching, you answered the bell the last couple weeks of the season. But I thought the difference maker would have been against Southern and Jackson State for sure. You had the yardage, but had you got 1 touchdown, that was the difference maker in order to get Texas Southern the victory against Jackson State and Southern. Now, FAMU, you had the yardage in that, and I know your team went up big going into halftime, but you needed the touchdowns. And for me, offensive production means getting into the end zone. And I think that hampered him in this whole conversation of offensive player of the year. He did his thing against Alcorn, right? Put them
11. Okay, hold on. You act like getting 200 and something yards on Southern is slight. I'm not. So you're telling me you would take 80 yards with 3 touchdowns. That's what because that's what you're saying. It all comes down to touchdowns.
By all due, excuse me, I'm not saying it's slight because I'm giving the man his credit. He did it on the back end. But if you look at what he would have did had he got into the end zone against Jackson and Southern, Texas Southern gets those 2 victories. They needed a touchdown to win either one of those games. He had the yards. Offensive player of the year, had he got those touchdowns, he puts Texas Southern in a whole different category. And Scotty, he may have saved Clarence McKinney's job. But in those 3 games in which his team needed him in the end zone, right? That is the difference maker. But I'm not saying, although he was all the offense that they had, man, Ladarius Owens, brother, listen to me. You are a beast. You are a dog. But your team needed you to get into the end zone against Southern. Your team needed you to get into the end zone against Jackson State. You got you, but you had to be able to elevate them. That's 2 more wins that would have been in the win column for you and maybe change the whole landscape of a lot of things. But nonetheless, I think you are good and I think you are great in terms of Texas Southern.
Who's OPOY?
Hmm?
Who's OPOY if not Ladarius?
Jeremy Musa. Jeremy Musa, let's understand why I say that. And I said that a couple weeks back. Simply because Jeremy Musa lived up to the expectation of being able to elevate his team, get them to a SWAC championship, host a SWAC championship game, winning the SWAC Eastern Division. He was single-handedly the guy, because name me the running game that helped him.
Single-handedly?
Name me somebody. Name me another guy. No. Name me another guy on FAMU team who completely took over to get them in the position that they're in.
So, hold on.
Name me a guy who single-handedly.
Wait. Come on, man. Hold on. We all know a lot of games FAMU had won was in despite of Musa. He would be playing. Go ahead, Barry. Go ahead, Barry.
When they had to win against Southern, Jeremy Musa stepped up and got them a win against Southern. When they were down against Texas Southern, Jeremy Musa found a way to get them in position in games that they were behind in and games that they struggled in. It doesn't not matter if it was blowout fashion or not. He led them on drives to get them in position to win. Bro. It was Jeremy Musa, the ball in his hand, getting it to his playmakers, DeMarcus Riley's, and anybody else in the tight ends and whoever else that needed to get down to the end zone.
Listen, bro, like if you're really watching FAMU games, it's like 3 throws that Musa make that you're like, that's a great throw. The rest of them are schemed up. I mean, like, bro, they're literally, if you go watch this FAMU in the Bethune-Cookman game, they're literally schemed up to where it's nobody but the tight end, and he tosses it, and it goes for 20 to 30 yards. Like, Musa is not making throw after throw after throw. Willie Simmons is dialing it up to an unbelievable level, and he got the game on a string, and the defense is outstanding. But at the end of the day, there is not many games where you sit back and say, damn, Musa chopped them boys up. It's the only game that I would say Musa did something was PV, where he
didn't necessarily chop them up, but he put his team in a position to win. And that's what matters. Winning those games, right, and putting his team in a position to represent the SWAC East when you had a lot of pressure coming into the season. Could FAMU get over the hump? I'm just saying for Ladarius Owens, that touchdown, had you got one against FAMU, Jackson, and Southern, I would have been great and high on the horse. He has done his thing on the back end against Alcorn. He has done his thing on the back end against UAPB. They lost the UAPB game, right? They lost Jackson, they lost FAMU, and they lost Southern. Had he got a touchdown, that's a totally different play. That's totally different. But I'm not knocking him. The brother is cold-blooded. 3,000 yards plus over 3,100 yards in his career. He's the all-time leading Russian in Texas Southern history. I'm not knocking it, and I love everything about what he does, but Jeremy Musa in Florida A&M was in some situations in which you thought they would have lost. You thought they were going to lose.
The only game that I ever thought they could have been close to losing was the Southern game, and he makes and Willie dials it up. But if you look at some of these games, a lot of the games, Musa is the reason they're in the situations that they're in. Like, that's the funny thing about the situation. They are the most talented team on the field, and Musa is the reason they're either down by 14, down by 21, and then the defense everybody got to flip in the Division II game against West Florida. Musa is the reason they're down.
And I get you, but Musa made up for it when they needed it. And that's all I'm saying. Musa got his team undefeated in SWAC play. Musa had his team winning the SWAC East Division weeks ago. And Musa now has his team potentially hosting a SWAC championship trophy and moving on to a Celebration Bowl. And I'm not going to hold that against Ladarius Owens. I just think Ladarius Owens in those 3 games that I thought his team needed him the most to get into the end zone. And that was the Family Jackson and UA.
I think there should be listen, I think it should be Cole. If they go with Cole offensive players, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Musa and Owens, I think they should be offensive players of the year. I think that's the only way you can make that work, because we all see how much Ladarius Owens meant to his team, and we know what Musa has done for his team. So if it ain't Cole, somebody need to be getting fired. I'm going to be honest with you.
I think you said it perfectly. I think it should be Cole. Listen, and I want people to understand, I love Ladarius Owens. I love the fact that he put this team on his back with losing his starting quarterback and Andrew Body, and he did what he had to do each and every week because it was him. It was nobody else. It wasn't Jace Wilson, and it was nobody else. It was him. I just thought in the 3 games that mattered that would have got them over the hump, his touchdowns in the end zone would have really mattered, and that would have been the difference maker. But he, nonetheless, he got what he needed. But I cannot negate the fact that Jeremy Musa, regardless if he struggled or not, he made the plays when Florida A&M needed in order to put them in undefeated in SWAC conference play and hosting the SWAC championship. I am okay if it is co-offensive players of the year. And in my opinion, the way I agree with you, I think it should be co-offensive players of the year. This is a tough one. You almost can flip a coin, rock, paper, scissors. Both those guys, I think, meant a lot for their teams in terms of what they were able to do.
Absolutely. I think, okay, this is my thing, right? I think quarterbacks are judged on wins, and outside of them, players are judged on production. Right? That's my philosophy when it comes to quarterbacks. They're judged on wins because you can't, okay, like let's say Andrew was playing at Texas Southern and he throws for 3,000 yards and I can't give it to you. I'm sorry. Like those 3,000 yards were empty calories for the quarterback position. But for a running back who runs for over 1,500 yards, the position is so dependent that it's just like the line got to block. Everything got to work for you, and then they got to call the play. It's so dependent. That's why, to me, I don't mind giving offensive player of the year to a player who's on a bad team and they have the production behind them. Like if Keyshawn Johnson had over 1,200 yards catching and his team was 4-7, I'm like, hey, give it to him. 10 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, give it to him. You know what I'm saying? But with quarterbacks, to me, wins matter. Wins and stats matter with quarterbacks.
The only thing about the quarterback, the ball is in your hand every single time you hike it, right? And Musa had the ball in his hand every single time he hiked it. Whether we liked it or not, he found ways to win games, and he found ways to put himself in a position. Now, overall, look at his touchdown. Look at his offensive production. He's over 2,000 yards passing. Now, the number one thing we talk about in this conference is the lack of quarterback play, right? The inexperience and the inability of quarterbacks being able to make the easy throws, right? Being able to take their teams down the field. And we've seen that throughout the season. Let's take Alabama State and let's take Southern. 2 teams who rely on their defenses, but if they had remotely any type of quarterback play, you're talking 2 totally different seasons between 2 teams who had opportunities to position themselves for a SWAC championship berth appearance. And matter of fact, let me even add Prairie View in there. Trayvon Conley had ups and downs, right? He got it done against Alabama State, but let's be real. He was up and down all season.
He was up and down in that game. He wasn't even good in that game.
He was, and that's what I'm talking about. But then at the same time, let's even look at Aaron Allen and let's look at Miles Crowley. Both guys were able to do good for their teams, but it wasn't when they needed that factor. They didn't come in clutch for their teams, right? Aaron Allen let his team down against Texas Southern. Miles Crawley on that back end against Alabama State just did not step up to the podium, right? Ladarius Owens stepped up to the podium each and every week, but I'm just saying, and I just cannot let this go. In 3 games in which he got the yards, he needed to get into the end zone. Regardless of how people saw Jeremy Moose, and I am a broken record tonight, people. Jeremy Moose struggled, but when they needed him the most, he stepped up. And a 2,000-yard passer, a guy who led his team to success, because let's be honest, if it wasn't for him getting the ball to the guys that needed the ball when they needed it the most to win games, who else could they rely on? And you tell me, who else could they rely on? Was it Jennings or Yance? Nope. How else would Marcus Riley and the rest of those guys been able to get the ball to put them in a position to win? It took Jeremy Musa, a 2,000-yard passer, 20-plus touchdowns on the season to be able to get it done. But I am okay with if the fact that it is a dual offensive player of the year. Ladarius Owens, listen, brother, you are a dog, you are a beast, and I love you, and I really do, and I love everything you did for Texas Southern. You are the man. And if it is a dual offensive player of the year, I'm totally okay with it. But this is one of those where it's back and forward.
I definitely agree with you, Marcus. I think Aaron Allen does, though, the best D-ball pass in this way. And I mean, that joke could be on the money. I mean, in stride, I definitely agree with you. All right, let's move on. Here we go. That ass whooping. South Carolina State 44, Norfolk State 17. Oh, man. Corey Fields didn't have to do much in this game. It was a lot of running some more, but he goes 9 of 11, 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. 3 running backs getting to the end zone. TJ Smith, Tyler Smith, Josh Smith, all with rushing touchdowns. Norfolk 17 points and a abysmal showing of only 231 yards of total offense. Cameron Sapp goes 9 of 17, 174 yards, a touchdown with 2 interceptions. Talk about your man. Talk about your man, Big Worm.
Well, unfortunately, my man Big Worm didn't get it done. Norfolk State, but
hold on, my fault. Wasn't this your dark horse?
It was.
Yeah, let me blow you up for that. Yeah, let me go ahead and blow you up for that. Yeah. Because I picked Howard and you picked Norfolk, and that horse is looking real dark.
I say, behold, next year. Behold 2024, Scotty, all right? Because there is some bright spots for this team moving forward. But come on. I should have known better. The last game for Buddy Pugh, emotions, right? This is your coach. Buddy Pugh in this ball game in South Carolina State, 26 first down. They went 9 of 12 on third down. Very efficient South Carolina State Bulldogs. 443 total yards, 136 in the air, 307 on the ground. They had 2 turnovers by way of fumble. Norfolk struggled. 13 first downs, 4 of 11 on third down, 231 total yards, 174 in the air, 57 on the ground, 3 turnovers in this game, 1 fumble, 2 interceptions. Corey Fields, hey, what a way to show up for your coach, right? 2 of 11. This dude right here is so up and down. I never know what to expect out of him. But in his last game for his old ball coach, he did what he had to do. Very efficient for 115 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. TJ Smith, 13 carries, 86 yards, a touchdown. Tyler Smith, I don't know if they related or they just got the last name. 13 carries, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. And Jordan Smith, 14 receptions, 57 yards, 2 touchdowns. Buddy Pugh. I got to tip my hat, brother. And I'll bow and I'll do whatever. You retire on top. You are the man. Buddy Pugh now ends his career, Scotty. 151 victories to 93 losses. And in conference play in the MEAC, 115 victories to 44. He now leaves out at South Carolina State, the Bulldogs head coach, owning 3 Black College National Championships, 8 MEAC titles, and 4-time MEAC Coach of the Year. Buddy Pugh, congratulations to you, my brother. 44-17 victory. I'm glad you went out on top, and I could not have expected any other way for you to walk out as a winner at South Carolina State against Norfolk, and I'm happy for you that you were able to leave this way.
Man, I got emotional watching the Twitter when he was at the last guy at the end, hugging all the players after the last practice. Kind of got a little, got a little windy in the room. You know what I'm saying? Thought somebody was cutting some onions. But let's move on. All right. Hampton. Hampton versus 21-14. And listen, this game was a rout. Do you hear me? Matt Downing, 10 of 18. He just sounded like a white boy. 261, 4 passing touchdowns, 261 yards total rushing by Elon. Christopher Zealous, rough day in the office, 12 of 26, 129 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And Hampton puts an abysmal effort of 192 yards total together. What you got, P?
Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of the regular season for the vast majority of this team, and Hampton was one of those teams, 14 first down, 6 of 17 on third down. Oh, like you said, Scotty, only 192 yards of total offense, 129 in the air, 63 on the ground. The turnovers, 1 fumble, 1 interception. Elon did what they needed to do. 17 first downs, 4 of 10 on third downs, 451 total yards in this game, 261 in the air, 190 on the ground. They also had 2 fumbles, but Elon was able to take advantage of everything that they could, and they picked up a big victory to end the season against Hampton and completely knock Hampton off the map. Christopher Zealous, I just got big. He blew me up. I don't know, bro. I was high on you 3-4 weeks into the season, but your play alone is the difference maker when you talk about Hampton versus conference play.
Listen, I'm just happy that Hampton beat. My whole thing was Hampton was going to have a better record than NCAT. I knew that they did. They had a better conference record, so I'm good on this. But Hampton's the team. To me, Hampton is like a young kid, and you give him a fast car, he don't know how to drive it. That's what Hampton is, because they got it. I mean, talent-wise, they got it. I just don't know if the offensive coordinator or the quarterback, I got to watch more of the games to see who's at fault for some of these turnovers and situations. I know Elijah Burris did not play this game. I didn't see him on the stat sheet, and that definitely hurts you in that aspect. But if Hampton can get those turnovers situated, they got something brewing. And Elijah Burris, that kid is going to be a problem. I'm talking about somebody that he probably going to average either 150 yards every game if he's healthy. So definitely going to be a great game.
You keep Hampton's run game going. You keep the ball out of opposing team's hand, because now you're playing time of possession, and you give Elijah Burris the opportunity, along with Christopher Zealous, to be able to really make defenses have to home in, and they can't just focus on Christopher Zealous. Elijah Burris is a guy, when you watch film, you have to account for him. And the fact that he was not in this game at any point, you saw Elon take full advantage and walk away with it.
Yeah, and he is a difference maker. Absolutely. All right, moving forward. Campbell versus NCAT. We've talked ad nauseum of how bad NCAT is, and they still ass even now, right? They lose to Campbell 28-14. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Perry, I'm thinking there's a team up the road that played Campbell and beat Campbell in that same CAA conference. Am I mistaken? I don't know if that was – was that this year? I think that was this year. Wow. Campbell wins 28-14. Highs Malik Williams goes for 15 to 20, 188, 2 tubs. Austin Hooker, that last name got to change. But Austin Hooker comes in late and looks more competent than any quarterback I've seen all year outside of Kevin White. Kevin White has done his thing every now and again. But Austin Hooker looks like he has some potential. Stood in the pocket, made some great throws. Looked like there's a bright spot for NCAT in that situation. What you got, P?
Campbell in this ball game, 25 first downs, able to get it done. 5 of 11 on third downs, 399 total yards, 212 in the air, 187 on the ground. 0 turnovers for Campbell in this ball game. Very efficient, Campbell. That's how you win ball games. Unfortunately for North Carolina A&T, the Aggie pride, right? 18 first downs. Roy, where you at, Roy? You should have been suited up and ready to go if you could play. 5 of 14 on third downs, 317 in the air, 175 on the ground, 175 in the air, 142 on the ground. A fumble in this ball game, and unfortunately, A&T just didn't have enough in the chamber to be able to shoot and get it done. And Campbell found a way to pull away big in order to get this victory over North Carolina A&T, leaving A&T with only 1 win on the entire season.
Hey, shout out to Mr. Levette, said that's Hendon Hooker from the NFL's brother. Shout out to him, man.
Hendon Hooker played at Tennessee.
He said, put some more bass in that Aggie.
Aggie pride. And I don't know if that works. I ain't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, T-Ho, I get you.
Yeah, that's kind of lame. But anyway,
Yeah.
Tennessee,
I tried.
Tennessee Tech 35, Tennessee State, goose egg. Goose egg. Give him a big 0. Jordan Potts goes for 60 to 32, 184 yards, 2 tubs. OJ Ross, 10 carries, 2 running backs, goes do pretty much have the same stat line other than touchdowns. 10 carries, 96 yards. Marcus Knight, 14 carries, 95 yards and a touchdown. Draylon Ellis, just a horrible outing. 13 to 28, 79 yards and an interception. Total offense of 155 yards for Tennessee State. Now, mind you, this Tennessee Tech is like, they were like 4-5. I mean, they weren't a good team in the OVC in the Big South. And absolutely give Tennessee State the beat down. Eddie George talks about it in his post game. Says, I didn't even know what team this was that showed up to play. That's pretty much what he's saying. He said, this ain't the team that I've been coaching all year. So, damn, I felt bad for him on that one. What you got, P?
A couple weeks ago, Tennessee State had themselves in a position fighting for a possible conference championship. They was right there in the thick of things. They had lost to UT Martin early in the season, but they found some victories, especially against Kennesaw State, and they just kept moving. But then to go on this losing streak, but then to end the season like this completely, 35-0. This was not what we were looking at. Tennessee State was in my top 5 HBCU football teams for a while, and now they just completely fell off the map. You look at Tennessee Tech in this ball game, 22 first downs, 6 of 15 on third downs, 414 total yards, 184 in the air, 230 on the ground, 0 turnovers. I love when I see that stat line and it says 0 turnovers. That is yeah. I look at you through that right there, right? That is an efficient day of not giving the ball to the other team and giving them an opportunity. But for Tennessee State, they only were able to muster up 9 first downs. They struggled on third down, Scotty. 3 of 15, 155 total yards in this game, as you have there. 79 in the air, 76 on the ground, as well as 2 interceptions. I hate the fact Tennessee State just completely unraveled and fell apart at the end, because 3 weeks ago, they had themselves in a position literally fighting for that Big South Ohio Valley Conference Championship. They were right there in the mix and even talking about an FCS playoff berth. But
absolutely,
3 weeks in a row, they just completely find themselves on the bad end of the stick. And to end the season 35-0, man, I don't know where they go from here.
That's tough. And like the button says, next, ain't no need to talk about it. Let's just move on. All right. Here we go. The big matchups. Alabama State drops one. Been on a 5-game winning streak. Prairie View pulls it out 21-14. Trayvon Conley, 5 of 11, 109 yards, a touchdown, an interception. Caleb Johnson, 14 carries, 77 yards. Now, I'm going to be honest. I didn't get a chance to watch this game. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. But based on the stat line, I don't know how Alabama State lost this game. So if anybody in the chat could help me realize, because the stat line, the stat sheet is completely in Alabama State's favor. It's ridiculous. Damon Stewart with 27 to 38, 372 yards, 2 tubs. Tyree Saunders and Keisha. I think Keisha had 96 yards and 95 yards. Tyree had 6 receptions, 120 yards and 2 tubs. Just an absolute day for Alabama State, but Jesus Christ. Woo.
I'll tell you how they lost this game. Not being able to convert third downs when it mattered most, and Prairie View jumped out early to a 7-0 lead, and Prairie View just continued to keep themselves in position to keep the lead in this game and not have to play from behind. And Bama State, because they struggled at the quarterback position, but damn, you look at Damon Stewart in this ball game. But let's start back. Let's rewind, right? Bama State in this game, 19 first downs in which they outgained Prairie View by 2 first downs. But you know what, Scotty? 2 of 11 on third downs in this ball game. Let me hear you again. Give me one more. 399 total yards for Bama State, 383 in the air. Who would ever thought Bama State would have this type of day that's prolific in the air? 383 passing yards and only 16 rushing, and Bama State did not turn the ball over. Once again, I love that stat, but in this game, it did not matter. They didn't convert when they needed to. For Prairie View, 17 first downs, 4 of 9 on third downs, 279 yards total offense, 109 in the air, 170 on the ground, 1 interception. Damian Stewart, 27 of 38, 372 yards, 28 touchdowns, his best day ever as a Hornet quarterback. Played at one hell of a game. Tyree Saunders, 6 receptions, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Keyshawn Johnson, 9 receptions, 92 yards. On the other side for Prairie View, Trayvon Conley, modest to say the least. 5 of 11, 109 yards, 1 touchdown and interception. Caleb Johnson, 14 carries, 77 yards, and Chris Herron, 1 reception, 54 yards, 1 touchdown. The thing about Prairie View, they never found themselves behind in this game, and they forced Alabama State to continuously have to play from behind. And Prairie View being ahead continued to put themselves in a winning position, and Alabama State just not a team that has to be able to find themselves to win games, come from behind, and Prairie View got it done.
Yeah, I agree with JSU. He said with the stat line, you'd think Alabama State won by 50. Absolutely. Let me say this, because all 12 PV people are in the chat today. They are talking about, oh, bend don't break, bend don't break, bend don't break. That shit about to get broke in FAMU.
Congratulations to the Prairie View A&M Panthers winning the SWAC Western Division title. Hey, I didn't see this coming 2 weeks ago. I clap for them. Scotty, you can lean back and do everything that you want. They were able to get it done. They end the season on a 3-game winning streak, beating Pine Bluff, Southern, and Alabama State. And guess what? They snapped Alabama State's 5-game winning streak. I thought Alabama State had a chance in this game, and they played like they had a chance. But Prairie View got it done. They are your SWAC Western Division title champions. They picked up from what they lost last year, losing on the road against Mississippi Valley. This year, getting it done in front of 1,000 fans over in Prairie View, Texas, and they got the victory. They'll represent.
They didn't believe either. They didn't believe either. That's why it was only 1,000 people out there. They didn't believe that was going to happen. You know, listen. First of all, listen. It's hard to beat a team twice. I'm gonna just say that right now. It's hard to beat a team twice in a year. But y'all Bamas are about to get boat raced in Bragg. But that's another discussion. Alcorn State first potholes.
No. Give them their credit. They're the SWAC West champions. I want to hear you give them their credit, Scotty.
Congratulations, all 12 fans.
KJ, where you at tonight?
He's torn. He's torn. He don't know who to root for. You got FAMU on one side. You know, he be rocking with FAM, and then you got PV on the other side.
He won a SWAC goddamn championship at Prairie View. He better rock with his Panthers and not be torn by where he coached, but more so where he played, where he got his degree, and where he won a ring.
He know them boys about to get boat raced. What it is, you know what I'm saying? He gonna be like it, on Twitter and in the alumni groups, he could be like, go PV. In his back of his mind, he know they gonna get boat. They already got boat raced.
You gotta just take that and accept that then, because the game gotta be played. Look, KJ Black, you are a legend at Prairie View. You led them to a SWAC championship, and this is your team, and they found themselves in a position. I don't give a damn, huh?
Their last one. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It don't matter. I don't give a damn if he coached that PV. This is your team. You go back to who's your team. I get who paid you, but I get who raised you. And the Prairie View Panthers raised you, and you better go with your Panthers, regardless of win or lose. Go where your loyalty lies, brother.
What's the narrative if PV wins? I'll tell you that on next Monday.
Woo!
I'll tell you that on next Monday. When the week of the game is upon us. Stay tuned. Like next time on Dragon Ball Z. Okay, stay tuned.
It used to piss me off. They get right into the Freezer saga. You remember the Freezer saga? It took 6 months for that battle to get over with.
He about to go Super Saiyan next time on Dragon. You like, oh my god. Yeah, I miss those days. Now kids just watch the whole series. Like, are you like, it's man, you don't understand.
It's easy.
It's on Netflix. It's on this. It's on this. Anyway. Alcorn State 28, Powell State 24.
What a hell of a ball game, Scotty.
What a hell of a ball game.
Man.
What a hell of a ball game. Woo. Sing it along if you know it. I'm so glad that they got their ass whooped. Sing it if you know it. I'm so glad that they got their their ass whooped. I'm so glad that they got their ass whooped. Singing glory, hallelujah. Woo! They got their ass whooped. Man, that's a classic, man.
Mike Reed, where you at? Zoe, Perry, where y'all at, baby? You know, I understood this was supposed to be the season that it was never going to end. We were going to just pick up where we left off last year. And to end like this, and you back, you know it's disrespectful when Scotty put you back as Pothole State, because for a couple weeks there, he actually gave you some real respect. Right? You look at this ball game, and it was neck and neck, Scotty. I mean, every time you looked up 7-7, 14-14, 21-21, this game was just going back and forth, but ultimately Alcorn get the victory 28-24, 14 first downs in this ball game for the Big Bad Braves, as my man G say.
Big Bad Braves.
3 of 11 on third downs, 290. And you talking about you want to look at a stat line and figure out how a team lost, right? 296 total yards for the Braves in this game, 225 in the air, only 71 on the ground, 7 of 55 on penalties for Alcorn in this game. They had one turnover by way of interception. But on the other side, for the Tigers of Jackson State, 18 first downs, 7 of 16 on third downs, 431 total yards of offense, 237 in the air, 194 on the ground. You know what Jackson State struggled in this game, Scotty?
Turnovers.
15 penalties for 125.
Ooh, 23 yards. 25 or 23?
125 yards.
Jeez, hey, that last drive, 1st and 45, I ain't never seen that in my life. I ain't never seen that in my life. 1st and 45, I said all the yards you got, you done just gave them back in penalties. That was crazy.
15 of 125 yards and penalty giving up the field and some, along with one turnover. Aaron Allen, 16 of 24, 225 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ontario Hunt, big boy, 2 receptions, 88 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, and Malik Rogers, 4 receptions, 68 yards, 1 touchdown on the other side for Jackson State. Jacoby Morgan, 11 of 16, 151 passing, 3 touchdowns. How about Jason Brown getting the opportunity to get some passing yards in this game, but it wasn't much. 11 of 18 for 86 yards, and he turned the ball over. One interception. And Fabian McCray, 6 receptions, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. It wasn't enough. And in a big game, in a rivalry game in the state of Mississippi, in which the past 2 teams who hosted the SWAC championship, Alcorn and Fred McNair, became victorious against T.C. Taylor in his first year at Jackson State. Man, what a hell of a game. And I just thought this was a one hell of a game. It was a classic for me. If you look at it, I watched this game. This was an instant classic. And shout out to Alcorn. Statistically, it say you should have lost this game, but realistically, you won the game. In reality, congratulations to Alcorn and Fred McNair. Fred McNair, you live to fight another day, brother. Unfortunately, you put yourself behind the 8 ball last week, getting your ass blown out to Texas Southern. If not, you head to a SWAC championship.
Getting your ass blown out. Whoa, pause, my boy. Come on. No homo, P. Come on, man. No homo, bro.
You do a little too much. They got their ass blown out by Texas Southern. Homo or no homo, pause, no pause. That's what happened.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
I don't care. It is what it is. It's a pause, no pause when you talk about Alcorn this week.
You know what's the funniest thing to me is this. This is the one thing I cannot stand about. And I'm gonna have a whole
pause. Excuse me, pause.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah. But this is the thing I can't stand about Powell State fans, right? One, people on Twitter talk about, oh my God, if you call us Powell State, you don't respect our institution. I'm like, yo, aren't y'all the same Bamas that call Alcorn Slawcorn? Y'all the same individual. What to me, what's the difference? That's number one. Then number two, I got Bamas. Listen, tomorrow is about to be epic. I have clipped up so many videos of what they said they were going to be. Oh,
do you have any for the show tonight from the congregation?
Let me see.
I saw you on social media. I saw the trash. Was going.
I was posting like crazy.
And can you use words? Was it stronger, faster, and what else?
Yeah. Hold on, let me see.
Yeah,
I got
this is going to be the strongest, fastest, whatever team. And now the back end, the side story is we got to get stronger and we got to get faster.
Oh yeah, got to. Oh yeah, that's what I was told. Now this is what was said because you gotta give context. If you look at the date, right, 6/29/23. This is what was said by Coach Arby's.
Strongest, fastest, most violent. Okay, I didn't even realize they used violent. Okay, it was violence at the end of this game against Alcorn. It was some violence.
That's what he said. That must have been what he was talking about because it wasn't on a. But then the mass meeting leader, Mr. Emotional.
We got to get tougher, and we gotta get tougher, stronger, faster, and a lot of things to improve upon.
Now that's not making sense to me, Perry.
Wait, Scotty, run it back from the text, and then we're gonna run it back from the words. Let's hit the text. Now read this out for us that with the bouncing ball for us that can't read.
It says, this is going to be the strongest, fastest, most violent. Now, see, if you're new to Twitter, that @ right there with the blue, that's the actual football team. That's the Jack State football team, right? If you JSU Tigers, FB, that's their team. You have ever seen.
Scotty, give me the time, the date, and how many views they got.
I'm looking at it 1:31 p.m. on June 29th, 2023, 46,000 people saw this. And it probably got a whole bunch of thumbs up. Likes, comments, all that. And then, not even 24 hours after the game, the mass meeting cult leader got on his platform and said,
we got to get tougher, stronger, faster, and a lot of things to improve upon. 7-4, man.
I'm not. That's not making sense to me, P. That's not making sense to me.
I got to the people in the chat. You got more?
Oh, I got more. I got more. P.
You do this for a living.
Oh, that's what. Listen. I had nothing but time and opportunity. Nothing but time and opportunity
for a living.
Come on, man. I'm the king of receipts.
What else you got for me, Scotty? Wow.
Yeah, I got you. Let me show you something. Because you had said something very profound, Perry. You had said something very profound one time, but you said after all the losses, it wouldn't be the breakdown anymore. But this is how it started, though. Got a 9-2.
Oh, 9-2 swag chill. Start in Atlanta, end in Atlanta.
All right. I will play it again for the people in the back. Zoe got a 9-2.
Oh, 9-2 swag chill. Start in Atlanta, end in Atlanta.
All right. Now, I'm not, you know what? Listen, I'm just confused because how do you go from SWAC champs to now, we got a winning season? I'm not, it don't make sense to me. It don't make sense to me.
I know that Mr. Campbell. What's that side business Mr. Campbell got these days? That loan office.
Yeah.
Oh, I know they rubbing their hands like birds. Because that can't make up for that one right there. You can't leave in the minus. But say that one more time. I think I had something in my ear. I got a little wax. I'm sorry.
Zoe got a 9-2.
Oh, 9-2 swag chill. Start in Atlanta, end in Atlanta.
That's all right. That's what they had said. That's what they had said. So I'm just like I said. I
heard what the motherfucker said.
Because he said it when he said it. I heard what he said.
I heard what the motherfucker said.
But definitely, y'all definitely want to tune in tomorrow because I got some receipts. I've been clipping and screenshotting my life away these past few days, but because everybody want to act like what they didn't say when they said it because they was all brolic in the chest early in the season, all early, chest all poked out. You know what I'm saying? Walking around. You know what I'm saying? Shh. Now they talk about we need to fire the OC and the DC. Oh wow, what a change! What an absolute change. But you know, can't trust them as far as you can throw them. Can't trust them as far as you can throw them. Let's keep it pushing. Hey, you know what it is? It's in at the pothole. Do you hear what I'm saying? In at the pothole. Killing at the pothole. Swag Championship PV. FAMU goes down at Ken Riley Field, Bragg Memorial Stadium, December 2nd. Tickets are available November 22nd. Get your tickets. Get your tickets. What you got, P?
I'm going to say this for next week. I ain't got much. I'm just going to build off of it. The last time these two teams met, it was a 45-7 victory for Florida. And
ass whooping.
PV, if you thought homecoming was enough, wait till these cats host the SWAC championship. That's all I would say. If you thought Bragg was on one for a homecoming, my God, SWAC championship, they finally get a chance to host it, but I'll save all of that for next week. Guys, get ready to look for December the 2nd for a SWAC championship between the Prairie View and Panthers. Congratulations, Prairie View, first of all. Before I get into any shit talking, congratulations. There was a lot that could have happened this season, and it fell right into your lap, and you were able to take advantage of it and get it to take on FAMU. But I'll save it for next week because I think that'll give us some ammo to talk about next week as the rest of the games dwindle down. All righty, let's get into it.
You know what it is when you hear it. Detective Campbell, we appreciate your assistance.
Scotty, Perry White, good evening. How are you doing, sir? Let me just say something. I appreciate you defending my quarterback because ain't no one the hell I could defend my quarterback that damn good. I got to give you credit. I was sitting up here thinking as you were talking, I was like, damn, Perry almost got me believing all that shit he's saying is true. So I got to give you credit, Perry. Listen.
It is true.
Listen, no, I'm telling you, you so because I follow SWAC football and Texas Southern. This is why McKinney got fired. I'm not gonna get too far off on this, but they're the only team. They were the number 5 team scoring in the SWAC. They had 2 top 10 receivers and the number 1 running back. They had talent. That team was mad talented. That man couldn't coach that team. So then when you start talking about Musa, and then I start thinking, well, I am a SWAC historian. I'm going to talk about the Celebration Bowl era since, according to people from A&T, that nobody else matters. But I started thinking about the Celebration Bowl quarterbacks. Felix Harper, Kincaid, Shiloh Sanders, and then I came to Musa. I said those names again real slow. So all I know is that I hope he does perform as well as those guys did. And I'll leave it at that. That's what I'm begging on. Because if he could perform like those guys did, who I know could win a game, then we'll be okay. But that kid from Texas Southern, that kid was a difference maker. FAMU has a great talented team, and our coach is amazing because he dialed up plays. This is what I think, and I just got to think, we're going to say this for next week. But Willie was so great. He dialed up play with dudes wide open, and when Musa missed, everybody was like, how in the hell is that possible? That's how great the plays were.
Thank you.
Shiloh would throw the ball up, and then people would make plays. Kincaid would do the same. Felix Harper with his feet. Our coach made plays, which is unbelievable. I don't even know if that's even possible. Your coach can make plays. But, I just want to give my coach credit and give Musa, that's your barometer. So stand up to those guys and bring the thing home. All right. Now, on to the crime report. So Perry and Scotty, I'm sitting back, watching FAMU do what FAMU was going to do against Bethune-Cookman. But once again, that phone in the back started ringing because, everybody was playing around the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, the phone in the back is ringing. So I didn't even answer because, I'm a rattler. So I'm just going to let it go to voicemail, right? So I started listening to the messages. And I want people to understand the CSI OFFSCRIPT police unit has solved major crimes. We found the G. We exposed Jackson State for impersonating the prime teams. We even took down the infamous SMF, the Southern Mafia family. and we're going to give Perry a pass because Perry's going to turn state's evidence, so he's not going to get convicted. We took big time crimes into. But let me just tell y'all something. These crimes that y'all called about, those weren't felonies. So this is how we start. In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups. The police who investigate the crimes and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories. Now, here's the thing, Scotty. We have to take 911 calls. That's part of our job. We have to answer. But like I said, these crimes were not felonies. So what we're going to do for the first time ever, we're not going to issue arrest warrant. We're going to issue out ticket violations. Because these did not rise to the level of felony. These were just misdemeanors. So the first misdemeanor that we start with Alabama A&M and Valley. Now, we had a lot of Alabama A&M people calling the 911 line, barking in the phone, talking about they killed Valley. But the last time I checked, you were paid to win SWAT games, something that man hasn't done too much since last left. So here's the thing. You tried to copy Alcorn to send the smoke signal, but used a flashlight, so I couldn't even see it. So Alabama and A&M, you get a ticket for barely beating Valley, 30-21. You get a ticket. The next ticket violator is UAPB versus Texas Southern. We got a lot of people that call about Coach Hampton that they beat Texas Southern. Now, Texas Southern actually is the one that's going to get a ticket for forgetting that the game is 4 quarters and losing this game, because there ain't no way the hell y'all should have lost this game. So you all definitely got to get a ticket. And UAPB, we're just going to give you a ticket just for the fact that you called a hotline talking about y'all won when y'all ain't won a SWAT game the whole damn year. So we're going to give you a ticket for filing a false police report of a crime. So you got to get that ticket. No doubt about it. Now, this one right here, this last ticket violator is those Prairie View A&M Panthers. So here was the thing, Scotty. I kept seeing the call ID, and it said Prairie View 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I was like, did they have a group like that? How you can go to Boost Mobile and get a family plan? So I saw all 10 calls back to back. So I was like, something's got to be going on. So I actually listened to the voicemail. So all 10 of their callers called in and bragging about that they are SWAC West champs. You know what? But here was the thing. I'm going to give you all a ticket for one simple thing. I went and looked at the attendance, and on ESPN, the attendance said it was only 1,350 people that attended the game. So just the fact that y'all didn't even know if y'all won the game, and I was on 1,300 people there. So we are giving y'all a ticket for not even coming to the game. And here's the thing about Alabama State. Those murder hornets clearly don't fly all the way to Texas. The first day, I guess they go to Jackson. Because they left their offense back in Alabama. Because it made no sense for them to only score 14 points. So that offense was clearly stuck, and those murder hornets were stuck in Montgomery. And that offense has been stuck in Montgomery since the beginning of the year, other than when they came to Jackson to play. That's the only time the murder hornets actually left the city. So that alone, we're going to have to give Prairie View A&M a ticket for not showing up for the game and calling bragging about they SWAC West champs. We got to give the murder hornets a ticket for knowing that they should have put those bees on a bus to bring them the offense. And then, you know what? The last thing again, I'm going to say this. Only 1,300 people attended the game. That is truly a misdemeanor. That is truly a misdemeanor. I'm really, really disappointed in the Prairie View fans. So here's what I will say to PV. Do not call the hotline anymore because you'll be blocked. Come down to Tallahassee and support your team. Bring the Marching Storm and I think it's the Black Foxes, beautiful young ladies, and support your team down there in Tallahassee. Support your team down in Tallahassee. And then what you will really see is a real crime being committed December 2nd. And then we'll file another report. Now, with that being said, there was only one crime for the week. And that happened at Veterans Stadium in Jackson, Mississippi. But We're still gathering evidence because the crime scene was so heinous. So we will not be doing that crime report tonight. You have to check in on Wednesday nights on the breakdown because I might have another special agent that will report that crime. So that is the only felony crime of the week. The Jackson State Alcorn game, which we will be pressing charges on Wednesday night. So for you all, again, Perry, thank you for defending my quarterback. I really appreciate it. You know what I mean? And things like that. Scotty, thank you for allowing us to give out these tickets, these misdemeanor tickets. And then we'll be ready on Wednesday for the actual felony crime report. Y'all have a good night.
Detective Campbell with the misdemeanor report of the week. Dog, bro. First of all, I didn't even know you own any UAPB paraphernalia. The way you don't be repping. You don't be repping UAPB at all, bro. At all.
I'm your uncle. Go get that cold drink out the back of my truck in that cooler back there.
the ice box. Go give me some about the ice
back there. Get that old pop. Get that old soda from back there. Yeah. I show what's up. What? You got a problem?
Ain't no problem. I'm just surprised that you got some UAPB material. You know,
I got one.
Still waiting for that Valley shirt, but to each his own. Let's get to some of these callers. 4306 coming to you, Coach Green. I see you. 4306, you live.
Hey, peace, family. This is brother Sundiata from Tallahassee.
Talk to me.
Well, first of all, I want to take it back a little bit to where y'all was talking about the MEAC. I want to get both of y'all's opinion on what will it take to bring Howard and Hampton back into the MEAC to make that conference somewhat decent, to what it used to be back in the day. I'm a Rattler, so I lived through the MEAC days of FAMU being in the MEAC. But from both of y'all perspectives, what will it take, and can the MEAC, reach back to a glory day that we used to see, back in the day?
Okay, so Howard is in the MEAC, right?
No. I was saying I was giving props to Howard for giving, for making the strides that they've made this year and reaching the Celebration Bowl. But I'm saying in terms of, Hampton and A&T.
Yeah.
What will it take to get those teams back to the MEAC, to bring the MEAC back to a decent state of being than what it used to be back in the day?
Hey, appreciate
I want
the
to
call.
get y'all opinion. This is a question.
All right, appreciate the call. From what I've heard from people from NCAT, that ain't happening. They're not going back to the MEAC. And from what I've been also told is that their goal is to be R1 status, and they thought they would have a better chance of doing it in the CAA. That's the stuff that I've heard. But overall, listen, NCAT is like NCAT's like the dude who dated the black girl, got with the white woman, and now you like, ooh, green bean casserole, my favorite. Like you just sticking it out. You just sticking it out, and you just like, I don't eat fried chicken anymore. I'm good. Have you seen Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins? When he got the ribs, he's like, you want some of these? He's like, nah.
Some of that fine divine swine.
Yeah. He said, what, you one of them Farrakhan Muslims or something?
You're a Muslim now.
You're a Muslim or something? Yeah.
Muslim.
That's it. That's NCAT. That's NCAT, right? You know what I'm saying? They're dating that new chick and they got them doing yoga and, hot goat yoga and stuff like that. Just weird stuff, right? So, it ain't. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. But, and Hampton is just Hampton. They just do what they do. What you got, P?
Decision is made. They made it. They said they made their bed and now they lying in it. I think they're gonna lie because of the pride. They're not gonna move back no time soon until they ultimately get their ass completely pushed up out of there and everybody leave out the conference. But for right now, they where they want to be. They're gonna try to figure out, can they sustain where they want to be And that's going to take some years. And so it'll be some years before we ultimately decide to see what Hampton, he said Howard, but with Hampton and North Carolina A&T decide to leave that neighborhood and realize you're not wanted.
Not at all. And listen, Mr. Packner, I freaking love that movie. That Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. That's a classic. Okay, that's absolute classic. Coach Green, coming to you. Keep it short, please. What's up, Coach Green?
What's up, guys?
Long time no talk to, man.
Huh?
I said long time no talk to you. You've been, you and Sheila Lee been battling it out.
No, well, I've been busy, man. We had homecoming week, then we had finals week, and plus our games. So I've been real busy, man. I always get busy around this time here.
Yeah, basketball season.
So, our homecoming always fall on the second week of November.
Yeah, gotcha. What's good, Coach Green? Talk to us. What's the question?
Oh yeah, man. My question was, have it ever been an offensive player of the year who was on a bad team throughout SWAC history or any kind of conference history? Has a player been offensive player of the year on a bad team?
That's a good question, Coach Green. I'm gonna have to leave that one to Perry. Perry, what you got?
Scotty, let's do this. Type in Google and type in SWAC offensive players of the year. And clearly when we see it, we're gonna exactly know were they on bad teams or not. So, Coach Green, you just hold on 1 second.
The Texas Southern won what? 2 games or 3?
I think it's 2 games.
They won 3. They beat Lincoln, Alcorn, and who else? Bethune-Cookman. So y'all just hold on.
I don't know if I could keep switching it throughout the years. Let me see.
We just want to see a list of SWAC offensive players of the year, which I think they got a good list of guys that won offensive player of the year.
Let me see. SWAC player of the year every season. This isn't football though. Let me see. Eugene. Because I don't see Shador on this list, so this can't be right. Let me see. Go to.
It's okay if Shador ain't on there. We'll go beyond him.
No, it wasn't right. Like it was a whole list, but it wasn't the right list. I'm trying to see if Wikipedia has something, but
And then once we figure, I got one more question.
Yeah.
You ready for it now?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm still searching.
Okay.
Go ahead. You good?
Okay. All right. My next question. I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but this is something that's like, I think should happen. Normally during the celebration board, they always put Tiffany Green on the sideline. I think this year she should be in the booth with the potential of FAMU versus Howard. She need to be in the booth with Jay Walker.
I agree. I think she should always be. I just love how she calls the game. I'm not gonna lie to you. I absolutely love her.
Yeah.
I think they kind of do her. I think they really do her wrong by doing her like that. You know what I'm saying? But
I think she need to be in the booth most definitely this time. They got to put her in the booth with FAMU versus Howard. Jay Walker and Tiffany Green got to be there.
What you think, P?
About Tiffany Green?
Yeah, being in the booth and not on the field, not on the sideline.
Who they gonna swap her out with? RG3 and some other black man?
Is RG3 gonna do it this year?
I don't know. That's the thing about it.
That's a good question.
I think Tiffany Green always bring the energy. And what crazy would it be? And you better not put her on the field. You better have her in the booth if it's Florida A&M versus Howard.
That's what he was saying.
Walker's alma mater versus Howard.
That's why I said.
And Tiffany Green with FAMU. You better keep them together.
Mm-hmm.
They got the SWAC offensive players of the year.
No, let me see.
That lets you know right there how much better the conference need to get in terms of what we do. Come on, Scotty. Am I lying or what?
No, I'm already public enemy number 1. You just gonna keep throwing. You know how I feel about that website.
Well,
that
make
website's
me public enemy number 1.5, because if I type up and I want to see my SWAC offensive players of the year from how many other years there is, and look, they say I got my baby boy. What's going on, Jody? All right, You know what I'm saying? We need to be able to find out when you type into Google your SWAC offensive players of the year. And that should be something that pops up instantly if I want to be able to promote my conference. How is it you can't type into that and you can't find all-time SWAC players of the year?
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, you know, I'm out after this, but after the Celebration Bowl, you need to check us out, bro. I'm telling you right now, you might need to check us out.
All right, I might do that. Appreciate the call, Coach Grant. I apologize for not being able to answer that question. I really wish it was something easier to find and scoop up. He coaches at Rust College. He coaches basketball at Rust College. Yeah. 3859 coming to you. Did I see you, Reese? What's up?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Yeah.
I'm a NCCU guy, and as far as the A&T guy that was talking, please tell the Aggies don't open their mouth unless they're drinking water or eating soup.
Yee! That's how you feel.
That's all I have for you. I didn't realize that I thought I had a snowball chance of hell of getting to you. I really appreciate what you do. I got to figure out how to donate some money to your channel through Zelle or something. But please tell the Aggies don't open your mouth unless you're taking your medicine, drinking water, eating a bowl of soup because your face and head is swollen up from being bashed in.
Ooh, man, boy, y'all don't play. Y'all, I gotta go to that Aggie Eagle Classic. I gotta make it down there one year. I'm gonna go.
We play hardball. I had to tell one of them today that I said, listen, they started that stuff about the first team to win three MEAC titles. I mean, the championship. And I said, listen, we're the first team to whip your ass before we won the national championship, and the first team to whip your ass after we won the national championship. So for now, you need to stay out of SWAC. And I give deference to the SWAC. You need to stay out of MEAC SWAC business and stay on the porch and watch the big dogs do their business. Because just like, I don't know if you know anything about the big rhinos, but when the bull rhino was mating a calf, the female rhino, all the little junior flip rhinos had to get in the water and watch. And hopefully that one day they'll get to make themselves.
Why do you know that?
So that's what the Aggies need to do. I mean, one of them had the nerve to tell me that, hey, don't get ahead of yourself, because if Saturday morning, if you lose, you'll be in Durham Saturday picking up trash and emptying garbage cans. So I asked him, I said, well, is that what you're doing today? Because we preparing to go to Richmond, and you need to be preparing for spring training next year. Gotta say this number, man. If you really want somebody to explain to you how to go up in the Aggies, because they have boo-booed and stepped back over in it. They went to whatever conference and then went to the other conference, and now they're 1-9 and still bumping their gums about what's going on with the SWAC, what's going on with the MEAC. They really shouldn't be talking about football at all, man. They should just go somewhere, like I said, open your mouth, drink water, take your meds, and eat soup. It's wide enough to ship through a salt. So other than that, we don't want to hear anything from them.
Hey,
even the worst teams in the worst team in the SWAC or the worst team in the MEAC won more than 2 games. Won more than 1 game this year.
Hey, thank you so much for the call. I got your number. I will text you after the show.
Yeah, please text me back on how I can kick you. I don't like cash apps. I'm old. I'm 63, man. I'll Zelle you something in a minute. No, I'm for you, Scott. I'm just gonna download Cash App and do it however you say do it.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then the next thing, you tell everybody in HBCU that I said, the SWAC, the MEAC, and everywhere else. First of all, if you haven't played 1 or 2 downs in either one of the conference, you really need to readjust your attitude about things. And if you hadn't kicked in at least $250 or $300 in the last 3 years, please shut the fuck all the way up, because it takes money to run all these programs. God, I'm grown, man. I'm 63, man, and I got to call it like it is. When I got to North Carolina Central, my high school coaches had taught me how to umpire baseball. And then I went into a career in law enforcement. And I'm just used to calling the ball, the strike, a strike. And again, for the Aggies, unless you taking your aspirins in the morning, your Synthroid or blood pressure medicine, drinking water. Don't even open your mouth to drink no sodas, no beer, no martinis, nothing. Don't open your mouth unless you sipping water or eating soup out of a damn spoon, because your jaws is beat down, your head is beat up so bad, like Foreman Ali, that your mouth ought to be wired shut. I'm gone. Yeah, you gentlemen have a beautiful holiday season. God bless you all. And I'll be listening, and may the true champion be crowned on the 16th. But as I told the Aggies and the Bisons, until the buzzer go off on the 16th, the Eagles of North Carolina Central University, Durham, North Carolina, 1801 Fayetteville Street, are the national champions of HBCU football. So you best recognize it. That's all of them.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the call. Man, dog, listen, bro. Listen, man. Them old heads be they don't be playing around, bro. If he was my granddad, I would have that would be some funny stuff. If that was my granddad, I'll tell you that right now. All right, Reese, last call. We're gonna move on. What's up, Reese? Talk to me.
Yo, what's up, Scott? What up, Perry?
Oh, that was funny.
So I got a non-related question. Since it is Thanksgiving week, what are y'all Thanksgiving traditions? That y'all can answer that in the comments too. But I want to know y'all Thanksgiving traditions.
I gotta have ham. I mean, that's the only tradition I care about. Like, I gotta have ham, and I don't want to hear no Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. You will not disrespect Thanksgiving like that. I can't stand walking into Safeway, Giant, Kroger's, Albertsons, whatever stores that y'all have in y'all area, Piggly Wiggly, and Bama's got a Christmas stuff. I'm like, yo, can we get through Thanksgiving first? Can we get through Thanksgiving first? People be disrespecting Thanksgiving. They really do. They really do. It really bothers me. I'm sorry. Had to get that off my chest.
What about you, Perry?
I don't have no Thanksgiving traditions no more, man. I'm the Bayou Classic. We don't, shit. I eat po' boys and etouffee and all that other shit when I get down to New Orleans. So people ask me all the time. So I don't have no family in the state of Louisiana. So my family always asks me, am I coming home or where am I going wherever? I say no, because I'm pretty much going to New Orleans. And either you come here or I go hang out with friends or people that I know. But if not, most of the time, Thanksgiving, I'm not doing nothing these days. And over the past few years, Thanksgiving is just another day. I look more forward to the Friday, Saturday in New Orleans than I actually do the Thanksgiving day. Unfortunately, Bayou Classic kind of took that away from me.
Disrespectful.
That's fair. That's all I wanted.
Hey, appreciate the call, Reese. Hey, Mr. Kemp, I'm gonna get to you. We gonna get through we got some more topics to get through. All right, let's get to this HBCU top 5. Go ahead, P. Explain this list.
You like it?
I hate it. It don't make no sense. Your list never make any sense, bro. I swear, I be like, how does this even work?
I don't care if you like it or not. I like it. All right. Let's go to my HBCU top 5 of this week, right? Week 13, and things happened. Last week, I had Howard and Prairie View both tied at 5 because I liked where they were at this point in the season. And let's start at number 5. Let's go with Alcorn State, the Big Bad Braves of Alcorn State. 7-4, 6-2. They're 6-1 in their last 7 games. If anybody paid attention to what Alcorn was doing, aside from that loss against Texas Southern, Alcorn State could very well be in the SWAC championship representing the SWAC West. But that loss against Texas Southern ultimately hampered them, but they finished the season strong with a victory against Jackson State on the road, which I thought was a very big victory. Alcorn State enters at number 5. At number 4, the Panthers of Prairie View, 6-5, 6-2 in conference play. They end the season on a 3-game win streak, and guess what? Prairie View, you are the SWAC Western Division champions. Congratulations to you for finding a way to get it done when it mattered most at the end of the season, and you will now represent the SWAC West in the SWAC championship. At number 3, the Howard Bison. Scotty, you told me them all season. This team has been in your top 5 now. For the past 2 weeks, they've been in my top 5, and they moved up to number 3, right? The fact of what they've been able to do, 6-5 overall record, 4-1 in conference play, and guess what? They're 4-1 in their last 5 games, and they are the MEAC champs. Howard, congratulations to you. See you at the Celebration Bowl. Glad you guys were able to get over the hump, make up for last year's loss to North Carolina Central, and get it big in a 50-20 victory this year and close out the season against Morgan State. At the number 2 spot, the Eagles of North Carolina Central, 9-2 overall, 4-1 in conference play. They just ended the season as the number 13 team in FCS football. They're 7-1 in their last 8 games, and guess what? They received an FCS playoff at-large bid. Good luck to them in the FCS playoffs against Richmond, and we'll break that game down a little bit more. And the number 1 team in Black college football, the Florida A&M Rattlers. Rattlers, congratulations, finished with a 10-1 record overall on the season. 8-0, no blemishes in conference play, and they end the season right now, the regular season, on a 9-game winning streak, and they are the SWAC East champions. Congratulations to Coach Willie Simmons and those boys getting it done over Tallahassee, finally getting over the hump. So number 5, Alcorn State, 6-1 in their last 7 games. At number 4, the Prairie View A&M Panthers, 3-game winning streak. They're the SWAC West champs. Number 3, the Howard Bison, 4-1 in their last 5 games. They're the MEAC champs. Number 2, North Carolina Central Eagles, 7-1 in their last 8 games, an FCS at-large bid, and the number 1 team in Black college football on the FCS level, the Rattlers of Florida A&M, a 9-game winning streak, and they're the SWAC East champs, and they're going to host the SWAC championship.
Can you please explain to people how Howard is not number 2?
Well, Howard's body of work, right? Because they beat North Carolina Central is cool, right? They won the MEAC championship. They win the Celebration Bowl and North Carolina Central lose in the playoffs. Howard can jump them. But yeah, Howard, you beat them. That's what's up. But what did you do the other games? You're 6-5 and you're 4-1 in conference play. North Carolina Central is 9-2. You want me to put a 6-5, 4-1 team over a 9-2 team that's an FCS top 25 team? Please make that make sense to me.
Listen, if you had Southern in here for the past 5 weeks, I'm not even about to even.
It doesn't matter about all that. All you can do is keep going down. I'm talking about North Carolina Central.
Your logic don't make sense. Your logic don't make sense. It
ain't obviously for y'all. So
they beat them 30, and now all of a sudden the body of work, it don't make no sense.
If
Okay,
Howard gets into the Celebration Bowl, because look, North Carolina Central can still make leeway for themselves. Let's say North Carolina Central wins their first and second round game in the FCS playoffs.
Then when that happens, you make it like you quick to say, I don't do hypothetical, Scotty. I don't do. You just did a hypothetical. You literally just did one. So your logic don't make sense. It don't make sense at all.
I don't care if it don't make sense to you or anybody else. Howard is 6-5. North Carolina Central is 9-2. Yes, North Carolina Central lost 1 game. They lost to UCLA and they lost to Howard. They're still a top 25 FCS team, and they are number 13 in the last FCS poll. You want me because Howard just so happened to get that 1 victory that mattered all season.
That doesn't matter. That they beat them by 30 to become the MEAC champions, but that don't matter though. But okay, like I said, it don't make no sense, but we'll keep it pushing. All right, listen.
You didn't even pick Howard last week.
It don't matter. That's your list. Live with it. Hey, I got Prairie View at number 5 for me. They are the SWAC West champions. Very simply, they're hot. They played well. I still got Alabama State above PV because I had them so high. Because of the situation, I had them so high, so they lost or whatever. So whoop-de-doo. NCCU, I got them at number 3. Howard, I got at number 2. FAMU, I got at number 1. Now, the logic that I have about this one and the head-to-head for this one is because on my list, PV was not in my top 5 last week. They were not. It was Morgan. It was Howard. They weren't in my top 5. So when you're asking me how is Prairie View underneath Alabama State, it's because Alabama State was in my top 5. PV was not. So the fact of the matter is that PV goes up. Alabama State goes down, NCCU goes down, Howard goes up. So that's how it works for me. So that's just how it works for me. So I'm gonna just keep it a buck. So it is what it is. But NCCU, I don't get that one. I don't get so. It just, like I said, we each got our own. That's our own philosophies work for our own ways. Now I want to ask you this: who would you want? Right? I shout out to my boy Kelly Flicks. He did a list. I just thought it was absolutely amazing. It's the first list I've seen that just doesn't have HBCU guys on it. But here's his list of some best available coaches. Let me see if I can bring this down. Sorry. There we go. All right. Chennis Berry, Quentin Morgan from Langston, UNLV, Brendan Meyer, Valdosta State, Tremaine Jackson, Antoine Sewell, you already know him from Morgan State, Sam Shea Miles, Cade Bell from Western Carolina, I believe. Yeah, West Carolina. Cadillac Williams, KJ Black, and Matt Leone. If you had a choice for, because you guys currently have an open spot at Southern, if you had a choice of a coach, who would you give the opportunity to?
Do I got to play along to this list? Just play along to this list?
Yeah, to this list.
Okay. Is that Kate? Should get that off the screen right there.
My bad.
Yeah. Kate, is that K Bell or Kerwin Bell? Who is that Western Carolina?
K Bell from Western Carolina.
Now, who the hell is K Bell? I know Kerwin Bell, who's at Western Carolina, who's the head coach. Is K Bell like his son or something?
I guess I don't think he's a head coach because it has NA. Usually, people who are the head coach, he has their record beside them. So maybe it's assistant. Maybe it's one of his assistants or his son or something.
All right, let me play along. If I had to go with this list, and I will say, who would I want? Does it have to be Southern? Can I just say jobs available? Where are we going with this?
Your job. You have an open spot at Southern.
Don't yell at me, bro. I'm just asking a question.
I'm saying, like I said you have an open coaching spot. Who would you want off this list in the top 10?
You ain't gotta do me like that. I understand what you're saying.
You didn't understand. Ask me again.
I got you, brother. I got you. I don't know K Bell, but I know Kerwin Bell at Western Carolina, which is kind of throwing me off. And if it was, it's his son. Oh, well, no, I'm going with his daddy, Kerwin Bell. But the daddy more proven than the son. Fuck, I want the son for when the daddy then won a Division II national championship and some more stuff. I guess if I was to say Matt Leone was at Southern before. He was the quarterback coach. I don't know if I have time to wait on KJ Black to learn how to be a Division I quarterback. I mean, a Division I coach. I don't know if I have time for Cade Bell to be a Division I coach. I like Cadillac Williams. I will say that. I like Cadillac Williams, and I will go with Chennis Berry. How about those two? Okay. Cadillac Williams, considering at Auburn, is that Cadillac Williams at Auburn? He found ways to motivate Auburn last year to pull out some victories late. He's a guy that I think, just considering his playing career and what he was able to do as an interim coach, and they took the interim tag and put him back in position. But if it was for me, my two, and I know is you asking for one, but I'll give you two. I'll go Chennis Berry and I'll go Cadillac Williams.
I like the Cadillac Williams pick. Chennis Berry, I'm still on the fence with that one until I see a playoff win. But we'll talk about that later in the show.
But before all of them, I'll take Kerwin Bell, Kate Bell's dad, the fact they didn't put him on the list and they put his son on the list. I would go with Kerwin Bell. He coached at Jacksonville. He won a Division II national championship at Valdosta State. He has Western Carolina in the top 25 this year. I would go with Kerwin Bell over Cade Bell if it was up to me. But off this list, I'll go Cadillac Williams, Chennis Berry.
I'm gonna do the coach. Since you're Southern, I'm gonna take Texas Southern. And if I was Texas Southern and I was trying to build something, I would look at Quentin Morgan I mean, what he did at Langston would pretty much, I mean, it's in the middle of Oklahoma, and nobody wants to be in Oklahoma. So I've always been a fan of Quentin Morgan and what he's done at the I believe that's either D3 or NAIA. I think that's a huge jump, but I do like his recruiting chops. I know Antoine. I don't think he's going to leave the state of Maryland for right now, so I think that's a tough ask.
Because Scotty, let's have this conversation. It's different strokes for different folks. Now at Texas Southern, you want somebody, and they're not going to be able to get it done in year one. That is a program build, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying you can come to Southern and get it done in year one, but the expectations are going to be, we don't have time for a guy to figure it out. We don't have time for a guy to try to learn on the job. We need a guy that knows the job, and he comes in and executes the job. And that's why I say it's different strokes for different folks. Texas Southern is a little bit different. I don't think the expectation that a guy has to come in and learn and have to be doing it now. And that's why I think Quentin Morgan from Langston, he may be a fit for Texas Southern because he understands there's going to take some time. There's going to be a program build. I'm going to have to be able to put myself in position to get what I need and get it. At Southern, it ain't going to be that hard. You just need a guy to come in and understand what it means to have the program and utilize the talent that you already have. And Southern ain't hard to recruit talent in like most other colleges in the HBCU realm because of the games and what you have to offer. So I think you got to also look at that. Southern wants a guy, we don't have time for you to figure it out. Eric Dooley was trying to figure it out on the job. It got him ousted in 2 years. We need a guy in year one. You instantly see progression. In year two, what you didn't see out of Dooley, you see that next level step up. And unfortunately, I think the vast majority of these guys, we just don't have the time at Southern to sit back and wait on him to figure it out.
I understand that because I know the expectations, the unrealistic expectations, but their expectations, there's y'all's no matter what. If I was Texas Southern, I would reach out to KJ Black, but if I was KJ Black, I wouldn't take that job. I wouldn't. The only person that I think would realistically do well at that job is probably Quentin Morgan and maybe Tremaine Jackson from Valdosta because of just like the pedigree. But I think with Texas Southern, you need a guy who can find a lot of gems, a lot of hidden rock type of players that you just like, wow, like I didn't know that kid was going to be that good, or hey, I saw this, or development. And I think Quentin Morgan can do that. So if it was Texas Southern, I'll definitely take Quentin Morgan. None of those guys I would take for South Carolina State. I don't think they're good fits. Maybe Cade Bell, but offense. I always believe like South Carolina State is a defensive minded squad, and I couldn't see somebody coming there with some type of like open air raid type scheme at South Carolina State. It would be weird to see, but I mean, I wouldn't. Matt Leone and Cade Bell. Cade Bell would be. I would see if they would be offensive coordinators before I would make them in my head coach.
And let's throw Alabama A&M in the mix. Which one of those guys do you think can find success being an Alabama A&M football coach?
I think Sam Shade. I know his 8-12 record doesn't, but it doesn't help the situation. But I do think that Sam Shade is a good fit. Why? Because one, there is no expectations at A&M, right? Like you can build what you're looking to build, and I think A&M is okay with being in third. And listen, as long as Sam Shade comes in and wins the Magic City Classic and homecoming, he'll have a job. And I think Sam Shade can do that.
I think Cade Bell, we was talking about on that show last Thursday,
That's
talking
fair.
about
Yeah.
the demographic of what Alabama A&M is dealing with in Huntsville. If that's the case of throwing Cade Bell in, the son of Kerwin Bell at Western Carolina, and considering the success that they had, I think Cade Bell could be a guy that can come in and be refreshing to be able to attract, because I think A&M, you are HBC, but you need white folks to come pay money to come to your games, considering the area that you're in. You will not survive off of black folks along in your area, right? You already bougie. You already got a certain esque about yourself, but you're in an area in which there's a huge population of people that's literally paying you no attention. You get a Cade Bell in there, maybe he can get those people to pay attention and come, because the bottom line is getting tickets, HBCU or not. Once again, you want to sell tickets, and I don't give a damn if it's white folks or black folks at the game. You want people to come to your game aside from the Magic City Classic. Cade Bell could probably be a good fit at A&M.
I think and I think AJ Niles makes a great point. If you can consistently go 7-4 at A&M, you're set for life, especially if you can win the Magic City Classic. And I think that's what did Conno Maynor in, is that you lose the Magic City Classic twice, back-to-back years, to a rookie head coach, and you supposed to be the veteran in the game. And I think if Cade Bell came in, and I don't know what they run at Western Carolina. I don't know what it's a triple option spread, air raid. I don't know what they run. But if he could come in and bring that, throw the ball around the yard, put up 200-300 yards a game, and make it exciting, and make it and make it interesting to go watch, I think you might have something there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think you might have something there. So no, I agree.
You
I think
A&M is bougie? What is realistically your idea of Alabama A&M, and what makes that place tough for a coach and for his fan base? What do you see about Alabama A&M for anybody to come in there?
First of all, the fan base is just ass. Like they're just not engaging at all. It's dry. It's not worth it. A&M reminds me of a cousin that has another cousin that's doing well, and you're just trying to they're trying to be like somebody else. Like that's what A&M reminds me of. Like they remind me of, like, let's say like you and like if I had a brother who is a doctor, right? And you're not a doctor, but you're trying to be a nurse. Like that's A&M. That's that's A&M to me. Like they want to be on that level of Howard and Hampton bougie, but you're not that, and you're not there. You know what I'm saying? It's that for me. So you a CNA. You know what I'm saying? You a RN. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you're not a doctor.
You're no cardiovascular doctor, right?
You're not.
You're no neurosurgeon there.
But they talking to you like they talking to you like, oh yeah, I did this. And you're like, so what are you again? Oh, I'm a nurse right now. I'm a nurse right now, but I'm studying to go be. You're like, okay, yeah. Wait, call me when you're a doctor. Yeah, that's what you know what I'm saying. Like that's what it reminds me of, man. Like I like dealing with A&M fans, because it's just literally like, it's like what, you know what I'm saying. So, but the thing for me is like, to be in a football state and they not care about football, that's weird to me.
Well, let me ask you, that's explaining A&M. What is South Carolina State to you when you look at fans, the fan base, and the overall idea of that job? If you can say that about A&M, and Southern, the expectations of a fan base, that sometimes it just seems unrealistic, but it's a hard-nosed, hard drive idea of championship. What is South Carolina State?
South Carolina State to me is like the dad who works at the mill and provides. Like it ain't the best.
Joe Jackson.
Yeah, that's what South Carolina State to me is Joe Jackson.
Yeah,
like it's just hard nosed. Get it right. We do it a certain way here, and this is how we do it, and this is how it's been done. And what I love about South Carolina State is that they know their flaws, right? But at the same time, they're not Southern to where they're like, "Oh, you should have fixed it." They're like, they'll give you the room to, hey, get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, get it together. And they're patient. That's why I think it's a great job. And I don't know if you said it or Zoe said it. I think it's a great job because, one, you only got 5 teams in the MEAC, for football. And if you go 4-1 or 5-0 in conference play, you're walking into a MEAC championship every year. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's something Chinnisberry can do. Chinnisberry can be HBCU great. You know what I'm saying? And probably beat a white school every now and again, right? We'll see how this playoff game goes. But I think Chinnisberry at South Carolina State, if Ray Lewis, if they can get Ray Lewis, I'll get Ray Lewis. But if South Carolina State wants to get a solid guy, a Mike Tomlin type of guy, you go get Chinnisberry, you give him a 5-year deal, and you let him and you let Chinnisberry do what Chinnisberry does, which is build a program. And I think they'll be HBCU freaking great.
And last but not least, Texas Southern. I know you were high on them. They had Andrew Body. They got Ladarius Owens. But when you look at them as a fan base, when you look at them as a program, when you look at the potential of being in Houston, you got Rice, right? You got the University of Houston, and you got Houston Christian. You got everything surrounded. How do you make yourself relevant, and what do you see for yourself personally, Texas Southern's fan base and the expectations for that program?
I think Texas Southern is like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. Like, you always forget about them, right? Like that's what they come off to me is like, they're like, we forgot Kevin. You're like, oh shit, we forgot Texas Southern. Like that's what it feels like until they're relevant, until they actually do something. It's like, oh shit, like Texas Southern. Oh yeah, forgot. Oh yeah, we do have that. And I think a lot of their fans are the same way. You know what I'm saying? Until something goes well, until something goes right, or until they get the ship righted, it's gonna be like, we had a game this Saturday. We did have a game this Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And what makes it even worse is that you are in a football hub with Rice, Sam Houston State, you know, all the Houston Christian. Like you're probably in like in probably 20 to 30 miles, you probably can hit about 5 or 7 universities. You know what I'm saying? It's just and that are bigger than you. So, you know, it's tough. I think for Texas Southern, you need a lightning rod. You need an Ed Reed. You need a Ray Lewis. You need a football superstar that makes you relevant. You need a Art Browse. I don't care what nobody says. I think Texas Southern hiring Art Browse will be the best coaching hire of the year. I really do. I think it'll be perfect situation for them, but it is what it is. So that's my little 2 cents on everything like this.
Anybody else need a coach?
You said what?
Who else need a coach?
In Cat. They need to let that Bama go. He need to go back to cooking ribs, bro. They need to let that Bama go. They need to let that Bama go. And NCAT need to let that Bama go and go get you another guy. Just for real.
Well, let's put them there in the same conversation. Fan base, expectations, and what's realistic for their fan base in terms of generating support and excitement. Who are they to you? Are they bougie? Are they, exciting? Do they get the job? Like, what are they to you?
You know, I haven't seen the high of highs in Cat. I've only seen the low of lows in Cat. So I gotta give it some more time before I can really put my finger on it. But they don't need a celebrity hire, but I think for the CAA it will be really great. Because then what you're going to allow yourself to do is you're going to allow that lightning rod to overcompensate for your budget, right? Like, you can't compete budget-wise. You ain't competing on that. But if you can compete in stardom and then have some of them players in the CAA be like, man, shit, let's get the NCAT. You see what they doing in their game? You know, like that. That's what you need. You need something that's going to turn heads to make recruits say, I'm going to go to you other than Villanova. I'm going to go to you other than William and Mary. That's what NCAT needs. It's not a Vincent Brown who grilling ribs every other weekend and trying to feed his team. No, you don't need that. You need something that's going to make you elevate over your counterparts, which ain't going to be money-wise. So to me, that's why I think a celebrity hire would do them really great. If they got a Cam Newton, if they got a situation to where, you know what I'm saying, like it was a football superstar. But, to each his own. So it is what it is. All right, picks and predictions, week 13. You already know what it is. It was a Red Tail Classic. That's what they call it, Red Tail.
I thought it was Turkey Day Classic.
Turkey Day Classic. Turkey Day Classic. Alabama State, Tuskegee. Now let me say this. I've had some text messages from a lot of Tuskegee fans. They are not happy about this game. They did not want this game because they wanted to go into the playoffs, and they could not based off. They listen. I'm telling you, I've talked to a few Tuskegee. Honestly, I talked to a few Tuskegee people. They're mad that they scheduled this game because they did not want this game because they wanted to go to the playoffs. So it is what it is. But
Go
We're
get
here.
your ass whooped in the playoffs or go home with a check. Which one would you rather? Because you're not getting out the first round of the playoffs, Tuskegee. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah, their defense is pretty bad. Offensively, they can compete. Defensively, yeah, they're really bad. They're really, really, really bad. But what you got on this, P?
Alabama State, Tuskegee, a rich history. Tuskegee traditionally has found ways to beat Alabama State. Alabama State right now coming into this game, they were on a 5-game winning streak up until they ran against Prairie View. So they're 5-1 in their last 6 games. Tuskegee always seems to find a way to get a victory in this one. And I don't know why or how, but they typically do. This year, I'm going to go with, because you just said it best, Tuskegee's defense is pretty bad. And I know Alabama State's defense is pretty good. And I'm going to go with Alabama. Huh?
No, I just started laughing.
Oh, I'm going to go with Alabama State. I think this is one of those occasions where they finally get over one of those humps against a team that's traditionally had success against them. And Bama State, come on, man. You FCS Division I, Division II Tuskegee want to go to the playoffs, so they may try to prove to you this is why we're playoff worthy. But I'm going to go with Bama State in this one. I'm choosing Bama State. Eddie Robinson, you got playmakers, right? Damian Stewart just had one of the game of his life, right? You got a playmaker in Keyshawn Johnson, and then you factor that in with your defense. You have been right there all season, but guess what? Bama State did lose to Miles this year, didn't he?
They sure did.
They sure did. Early this season. Tuskegee can upset them, but I'm going to go with, this is a crazy, wacky game, but I'm going to go with Bama State in this one, Scotty.
Let me first of all, I'm going to go with Bama State as well. But this is my thing. Bama State cannot lose this game. Like, first of all, I'm going to be honest with you. This game can't be close. It can't be no 27-30. It can't be no 24-27. And I know football is a game of inches, and the ball bounces in very funny, weird ways. But if you're supposed to be the team that people think you are and are trending to be, you got to set the tone on this game and say, y'all shouldn't even be on the field with us. This game need to be 14-35, like 14-31. Like, that's what this game needs to be. And if I'm Alabama State and this game is not like that, I'm looking to make changes on the offensive side of the ball, coordinator-wise, because he's not getting the job done at Alabama State.
And you cannot lose to 2 teams in state that are Division II teams, Miles and Tuskegee. You simply can't do that for your program right now. He needs to get this victory, and this is a victory that I feel when you look at your team, Damian Stewart, what the hell you going to do? Keyshawn Johnson, what the hell are you going to do? Eddie Robinson Jr., what the hell are you going to do? That's what matters in this game. Get this victory is big for your fan base to end the season. It's the Turkey Day Classic at home. And you got to get over a team like Tuskegee who's going to come pissed off because, quite frankly, they don't want to play this game. They feel like they got a better chance in the Division II playoffs, and they may come make an example out of you. In Bama State, I don't want you to look bad for the SWAC losing once again to Tuskegee in this ball game.
Absolutely. We know Tuskegee has a winning record over Bama State, but I don't think this is a team that Tuskegee has that can compete with this Alabama State team. But, hey, weirder things have happened. All right. Huge Division II playoff matchup. Benedict, they got a first round bye. Lenore Ryan beat their matchup. D2 matchup. This will be the first game for Benedict. I know we don't know much about Lenore Ryan.
Can you pull up their schedule?
Let me see.
This is a team that has made it to our radar that I'm not going to even sit here and act like I know anything about them. Lenore Ryan. I mean, who auntie is that? You know, my aunt Lenore Ryan. Who are they? Like, where are they from? What do they do?
Dude, they went 11-1. Let me pull this up real quick.
Lenore Ryan went 11-1.
Yeah, they went 11-1. They beat St. Augustine 45-7. You can see this P, or you need me to blow it up?
Blow it up.
All right, got you.
All right, yeah.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. St. Augustine 45-7. Fayetteville State 24-10. Erk Screen, don't even know what that is, 62-10. That's a sack. Carson Newman 24-7. UVA Wise 56-3. Limestone 31-28. Barton 47-3. Newberry 24-10. They lost to Wingate by 4. That's the same Wingate that beat Benedict last year in the playoffs. That's actually not a bad score for that. 28-7, 48-7 for the SAC championship. And they killed Shepherd 63-17 in the first round.
And let's do this just to make it fair for Benedict. Pull up Benedict's schedule.
All righty.
Because Lenore Ryan look like they may whoop your ass if you. I'm not even gonna front. That's a really good program.
All right, let me blow this up. How's that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, Shaw University 52-0, Edward Waters 34-0, Lane College 48-7, Chowan University 31-3, Morehouse, you already know what that is. Miles College 27-24, great game. I watched that. Fort Valley State 48-6, Kentucky State 63-14, Savannah State 38-7, Allen University 37-9, Albany State for the SIAC championship 47-10, and then Leonore Rhine University. Let me say this. I don't think that Benedict has been tested. Like, that's the only thing that I didn't like about Benedict's schedule is that they didn't go out and schedule a Wingate, one of those white schools, just to go see where they're at, like just to go test how good they are, because you need that. After you got beat by a Wingate, you need to go see, okay, where's our flaws? Yeah, we know we're going to beat our competitors, but what are our flaws? Can we go out here and beat these white schools knowing you got to see them in the division playoffs? And that's the only thing I'm not liking about this schedule. But go ahead, Perry.
You know, I like Tennisberry. I like Benedict College. Congratulations to them for finishing the second straight season undefeated in regular season. They're the number 1 seed, but something tells me Lenore Ryan they're battle tested.
Yeah.
And I think they can get this done. I'm going to go Lenore Ryan in this. Is it Lenore Ryan?
Yeah, Lenore. Let me see. I think it's Lenore Ryan. I don't know. The Bears. The Bears.
I'm going to go Lenore Ryan on this. I think they knocked Benedict out of this second round. And just to show what they did in the first round, they're not here to fuck around. They're here to play some football. And I think looking at their schedule, because come on, let's look at the HBCU Division II round. There are a lot of mediocre teams in that Division II round when you talk about the SIAC and the CIAA. Am I lying or am I correct?
No, you're right.
Right. Those aren't traditional powers. Every so often, you'll get the Benedict. You'll get the Bowie State. You'll get the Winston-Salems. You know, you'll get those type of teams who can go out. There was a team who won the CIAA, got put out in the first round last week.
Virginia Union.
Virginia Union looked like a pretty good team, right? Got put out. I just don't think they're battle tested throughout their schedule. Lenore Ryan, I just feel like you playing teams like Wingate in the regular season. Come on, man. You know, yeah. And even though they lost, I just think that schedule, to me, seems to give them a better opportunity. I like Benedict, but this is going to be a hell of a game. Lenore Ryan, I'm going to go with them in this one.
I'm going to go. What's difficult is, I keep saying this, Tennisberry cannot lose this game. I'm like, you cannot go 11-0 back-to-back years and lose in the first round of the playoffs. You cannot do it. To me, it just makes everything that you do seem invalid. I know it sounds really harsh. I know you're like, Scotty, it's not about white validation. It's about building your team for the play. Listen, let me be very clear. When you're playing for a Celebration Bowl, right? It's building my team to do what? Win the Celebration Bowl, because that's our goal. That's the mission. When you're in Division II, it's to win the national championship. So I'm building my team to get me to a national championship, and it starts with scheduling. And I don't think Benedict has done it with a great schedule. But I tell you this, I don't have a problem with him winning this game and then losing the next. But you cannot go out 0-2 in the first round of the playoffs, I'm looking at you different. I got to go Berry on this one because he has to have it. To me, he has to have this game. If you don't get nothing else, you got to at least win this game. That's just my personal opinion. If your defense is that great, something's got to give. Benedict got to come out with this game. I'm going Benedict on this one. All right. Third annual Pop Warner Classic, full effect. Right? This game really don't mean nothing. Well, it meant something it meant something last year. So, second annual Pop Warner Classic. All right. Second annual Pop Warner Classic, you got Grambling. They ain't got no coach. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got no coach. But, Perry, what you got?
It's the Bayou Classic. It's the granddaddy of them all. Been going since 1974, folks. Overall, when you look at these two teams, they played 74 times overall, with Southern leading the series 40-34. But when you talk about the Bayou Classic, these two teams have met 49 times overall. Southern with a one-game lead in this series, 25-24. Southern is 4-1 in his last 5 Bayou Classics. But what makes this game special and why it's been special for so many years, when you look at the championships between two prestigious programs out of the state of Louisiana, Grambling with 25 SWAC championships, Southern with 20 SWAC championships. So for all of you SWAC teams out there that think you got it made and it's all this and that, how about having a game where championships between two prestigious programs have always been on the line? And we've seen in the past, this game has decided the SWAC West champs. This year, it has not. 5-5 teams. Hugh Jackson's team has kind of been up and down, struggling. And you look at Southern firing Eric Dooley before coming into this game. Terrence Graves, a coach who coached Grambling State as an interim when they fired Broderick Fobbs the year before they brought in Hugh Jackson. He won 29-26 over Jason Rollins when he was the interim coach at Grambling. And now he said, look at God. God must have humor, because he's in that same situation at Southern, firing their coach, Eric Dooley, before the Bayou Classic. And he's in a position now to be interim coach. And then Sean Wallace, who is nothing more than, you talk about a guy dealing with pancreatic cancer, right? And for everybody that's on here, I hope they have the hashtag Sean Strong, and the fact of what he's dealing with and still able to be around his team as the safeties coach. He's going to be the acting coach into this game. And you think that has to be some type of motivation, along with Terrence Graves, who's been in this position before. But I'm going to go with Southern in this one. I think motivation.
Oh, wow.
And now an opportunity. Hold on, Scotty. And now an opportunity to get
Have you picked against Southern all year? You haven't picked against Southern all year.
I'm going to go with Southern in this ball game with Terrence Graves and Sean Wallace. I like the motivation that's behind it. You move on for Eric Doolin. I think now we get opportunities. We know who Grambling is, right? Southern's defense is solid enough that I feel they can handle themselves against Grambling.
You know what Southern is?
I think what's the difference is we don't know what to expect from Southern's offense. Coach Willie Titan, who's the quarterback coach, will be calling offensive plays in this game. And I'm going to go with Southern in this one over Hugh Jackson. But Hugh Jackson, I was at the Bayou Classic press conference this morning in New Orleans. Hugh Jackson made a huge statement. Of course, their acting president right now at Grambling, Rick Gallo, is leaving to be over the UL system. And he made a promise to Rick Gallo, who is currently the president at Grambling, and said, we're going to win the championship, and I'm going to give you the trophy as a going away present from me as Grambling wins. And so I think he wrote a check his ass can't cash, and I'm going to go with Southern in this one.
Oh, wow. Shocker. Oh, what a shocker. Oh, going with Southern, guys. Anybody didn't see that one coming? Put the head on. Put
Shut
the
your
Lacumba
damn
head
mouth,
on.
Scotty. You don't know what you're talking about.
Put the Lacumba head on. Let me go back to like I see it. I see it as the Pop Warner Classic. Two bad teams in the past few years coming together, playing bad football. That's pretty much what this game has come down to in the past 3 years, right? Just bad football being played in a big stage. Whoop-de-doo, right? So Pop Warner Classic is here. Listen, I think this is the perfect matchup of two bad teams not knowing what they are, right? Grambling's high-powered offense with their inept defense, and Southern's inept offense with Southern's high-powered defense. That's really what this game is going to come down to, strength against strength, and who's going to come out on top. Perry, before I get my pick, you give a score for this game? You just hoping for a win, huh? Just hoping for a win.
Hoping for a win, brother. Like,
Wow.
goddamn, cut me some slack, Scotty. I got two guys. I never even heard of a team having an active coach and an interim coach. I'm just going for what I can get, brother. Like, shit, damn, cut me some slack, everybody.
I'm just saying, like, we supposed to be analysts. You ain't even giving a score, like,
I mean, you don't even know what you finna get from. You don't even know who's finna be the quarterback. You don't know what offense you finna see.
Okay, you still got to give a score. That's just part of the game.
I take your score. I'm just hoping for a win.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a score. You know, I'm actually doing my job. You know,
do your job then.
I got 24-20 Grambling. 24-20 Grambling.
I hope you're wrong.
I mean, of course you do. Of course you hope I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong.
I mean, that's all you can do. You ain't got no score. 24-20 Grambling. I think it's gonna be a slugfest. It might really be 2017, honestly, because y'all haven't scored over 20 points all season. I mean, well, once or twice.
Eric Dooley is no longer in the picture.
So I mean, you still got Harold Blood though. I mean, he ain't changed.
I mean, we're gonna see what the other room of quarterbacks look like, who he's been hiding from us all season. Maybe we change up the entire game. I don't know. That's the thing about it. You don't know what you're going to get out of this game now that you got new eyes and a new way of thinking with this one. So
35-21, 34. I think this is a game Hugh Jackson has to have, because last year he should have had it and he let it slip through his fingers. I think that defensively they just got to get their stuff together. But yeah, I definitely have Grambling. I definitely see Grambling winning this game. I see it winning by 4. Maybe a touchdown, but I can't see this game for either team being more than a touchdown unless turnovers play a factor and you get short fields and stuff like that. But Pop Warner Classic, 3rd annual. 2 bad teams doing bad things on national television. That's pretty much what this game is coming down to.
The 50th, baby. It's the 50th. Come on.
50
years of this has been glorious and great.
I'm saying like the 3rd annual of the Pop Warner, like just being bad, just bad football.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I mean, it might be 50 years of the game.
Appreciate you.
But it's 3 years of bad football. I mean,
thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, game of the week. You already know. NCCU, Richmond Spiders, down the road from each other. It's going to be a massive game. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't seen much Richmond football. I watched the game today against William and Mary. I got to watch some more to really give a good breakdown. So I'll probably give another good breakdown maybe around Wednesday or Thursday after I watch some Richmond Spider film. I paid for Flow Sports, so I got it. But I'm just going to give you from what I've seen off that game of William and Mary. Let me say this. I think they both have weak defensive lines. I think NCCU has a problem. They both got good O-lines. Richmond has a good O-line. NCCU has a damn good O-line. Both D-lines aren't the best. But what I will say about Richmond is they are very creative in their play calling. They will do some stuff that will have you like, damn, like, oh, man, they called that or they pulled that out their ass, or they're very, 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 very creative in play calling. So you're going to see a lot of formations. You're going to see some stuff you're just like, wow, I didn't expect that. I ain't going to lie to you, Perry. It's a lot of white boys running around on Richmond. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. Like, I didn't want to start with that. But, bro, there's a lot of white boys running around Richmond. I'm talking offense, just like their whole starting receivers are all white. And I'm just like, you can't go out like that. You can't go out like that, man. I'm sorry, man. You just can't do it. So I got NCCU by 7.
What they say, the tail of the tape. You look at the FCS first round playoff game. North Carolina Central missed their bid to get to the Celebration Bowl, losing to Howard by 30. But thankfully for them, they had enough good wins in non-conference to be able to find themselves in the FCS playoff and in the first round, in which I think is a very winnable game for a HBCU team that we've seen in quite some time. I remember Richmond when they played against North Carolina A&T, who stumbled in after losing to North Carolina Central in the last game of the regular season, and then North Carolina A&T with Tyreek Cohen found themselves on the losing end of Richmond. In this game, when you talk about the tail of the tape, North Carolina Central averages 36 points a game. Richmond averages 27 points a game. For North Carolina Central, they're putting up 376 yards a game. Richmond, 333 yards per game. But this is the difference maker when you talk about their defenses. North Carolina Central is giving up 363 yards a game to opposing offenses. For Richmond, they're giving up 341 yards a game to opposing offenses. North Carolina Central, in their regular season, have picked up victories against two teams from Richmond's conference, the CAA. That's beating Campbell and that's beating Elon, two teams we've seen get victories along the way and pretty strong. Richmond lost to two teams, right? Morgan State and Hampton of the Black College world, of HBCU world. They are very much beatable when you look at the way Hampton ended the season and you look at how strong Morgan State is and the way that they ended the season. When I look at this game, I'm going to have to go with the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Eagles with this one. I think they are the first Black college team in a long time to get it done. And I think North Carolina Central and Trey Oliver find a way to make up for it. And this is a winnable game against Richmond. In fact, they know this conference very well. They've beaten two teams already out of that conference. And as well as last year going on the road, beating Rhode Island, who is also in this conference. And I guess I just forgot about North Carolina A&T, who is also in this conference. North Carolina Central knows the CAA very well. And I'm going to go with North Carolina Central in this one. I think they're able to get it done and get out the first round on the road. But don't take it lightly on Richmond. They're riding a 6-game winning streak coming into this game, but barely getting past William and Mary to end the season.
Yeah, it was a good game. They stopped them on. They William and Mary actually scored, and then they had a penalty of holding, and the game was over. This is the game that scared me. I might have to go back and watch this Campbell game because if you recall, Campbell and NCCU went down to the wire, 38-34 or 40-44-41, something crazy like that. And they end up and they just straight up demolish Campbell, 44-13, not even in discussion. We all know styles make fights, but oh wow. Blue said NC's going to win this game. I'm confident in them versus Richmond.
I believe in you too, Blue. I think this is a winnable game for HBCU in a long time when you look at the matchup. And like I said, the fact that North Carolina Central is very familiar with this conference, wins against Elon, wins against Campbell, wins against North Carolina A&T last year, beating a top 25 Rhode Island on the road. They know this conference, and I think they have the firepower with Davius Richard, who has to go out on top. This is a game where I think they can get past Richmond and find themselves in a second round game.
Yeah, I'm sending Blue a link to see if he can come up and just talk about the matchups. He said he's gonna come on in a little bit. Great. So my like I said, and that's why I want Blue to come up, because I know he's watched these teams, he studied these teams, he's seen Richmond, because Richmond, I know people are like, well, they lost to Morgan, well, that was a different Richmond team. They have completely gone in a different direction at quarterback, and that's when you see them take on this excelling. That's when they started excelling through the season.
And they're on a 6-game winning streak coming into this game. And I think this is one of those games where that all good things must come to an end. And this just seemed like the perfect matchup for North Carolina Central to get themselves in of a winnable game. We've seen mixed matches before when it comes to Black college teams ultimately getting that at-large bid from the MEAC or the SWAC with FAMU 2 years ago, and now seeing North Carolina Central being one of the few teams in quite some time away from FAMU outside of A&T some years ago to be able to get in this one. This is a winnable game, and it's like I said once before, and I'll harp on it. North Carolina Central knows this conference well. And I think because they know this conference well and be able to go back and look at the film against this team, against Morgan State and Hampton, although it was early in the season, I think there are some positions in this game to which they can take advantage of. And North Carolina Central, quite frankly, has the ability to be able to do it, especially when you look at an all-time great at quarterback in Davius Richard.
And this is my thing. If I'm Richmond in this matchup, I'm making Davius Richards have to beat me with his arm. Because I know what he can do on the ground with his legs. But I know a lot of people are like, well, he just threw for. If you look at when he throws for big games, there's usually against really bad competition. Really bad competition is when Davis Richards goes off and throws for 200, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. But when he's going against high-level competition, his running yards and rushing touchdowns is what takes his team over the edge. 160, 180, 200 yards rushing with 3 rushing touchdowns. Like that's what it is. So if I'm Richmond, Davius is going to have to beat me with his arm. And I don't know if there's a receiver on NCCU that just scares me. That's just like, hey, come, like meet me here. I don't know that. I don't know that. But I always give NCCU credit because they play like a team. It's never really a lot of individual efforts. It's more like we can do this together. They have a couple stars, Brandon Codrington in the punt return, Jason Chambers at DB, you know what I'm saying? Mookie Collier at the running back position. But, I'm excited for this game. I haven't been this excited for a football game until like FAMU versus Southeastern. When that went down, I was just as excited. Blue!
What's good, my guys, man? Appreciate y'all letting me come up here, man, chop it up with y'all, man. I'm so excited for this damn game. I'm not going to lie.
Talk to me, Blue.
I thought, we talk about HBCUs getting the short end of the stick in terms of matchups, especially early on in the playoffs. I thought Southeastern Louisiana was a terrible matchup for FAM in terms of what Cole Kelly could do, but you get a Richmond team, and like Perry's been saying, the mindset is that you can beat this team because of that common opponent, because you've seen this team play someone that you have beaten on the field. Same for UAlbany, man. Morgan went and competed with UAlbany. For them to get back-to-back potential CAA opponents is huge for the confidence because Scotty, I've said it on my show, the death march to Brookings is real. And if they would have had to get South Dakota State or Montana or someone like that in the second round, we could have stopped talking about a run right now. Because it would have been a one and done because they're not going to beat either of those teams on the road. Richmond's such an interesting matchup, though, because they've kind of rotated quarterbacks throughout the year. They had some success with Camden Coleman, who was a true freshman, and he ended up getting hurt. And they've kind of moved on to Kyle Wickersham, who's a kid out of Louisiana, and he's had some success. But the real difference with this team has been over the past few games, they finally found their rushing attack. Savian Smith and Milan Howard and those guys have really been balling out. So, Scotty, I know you don't like them because you don't like the front seven for North Carolina Central, but they're going to try to run the football. But the problem is I don't think Richmond's offensive line is as good as Howard's was. And that's where the advantage is going to be with Central. And then 2, the experienced secondary with a younger quarterback who doesn't have a whole lot of confidence because they've kind of been rotating quarterbacks. This is a game for Brandon Codrington, Khalil Baker, and those guys to have a big game. And I like Davius Richard against this Richmond defense. They don't do anything particularly elite, Scotty. I mean, they're decent, but they're still giving up like 350 per game. They're not elite against the pass. They're not elite against the run. They're just kind of like an average defense.
Yeah, I was watching Richmond against William and Mary, and I saw a lot of what William and Mary does is stuff that NCCU does. Split zones and quarterback draws and running back lead. I'm like, okay, NCCU can do that. And honestly, I think on both sides, both front fours aren't special defensively, but offensive line wise, I think NCCU is the better offensive line. And I think they can get it going. But to me, if I'm William and Mary, Davius Richards has to beat me with his arm. I'm not going to let him get off running the ball. And I said this earlier, usually when you see Davius Richards get off throwing the ball, it's usually against a lower opponent that doesn't have the back end or doesn't really play well defensively. But anytime he wins big games, it's usually his feet on the ground running for over 150 yards, like 3 rushing touchdowns. If you go look at the Elon game, it was literally him and his feet which did all the damage, and him and Mookie Collier.
And Blue, can you do something for us? Give us a background in terms of Richmond's coach and their coaching staff coming into this game.
You know, it's funny because I actually had a conversation with Josh and and Markham back when Morgan beat Richmond. There was a lot of talk that Richmond was going to move on from their coach after that loss. I mean, like they were pissed about it. But I mean, he's a super experienced guy, so he kind of pulled the Bill Snyder, where this is his second stint of at this program, where he was on that 2008 national championship team as an assistant under Mike London. And now he's going into his 7th season here. I want to say it's like 15th of his head coaching career, and they've had success in the playoffs before. I mean, they were in the playoffs last year, and they've done this in the postseason. So that's my one concern is you have a team in Central who knows what the history is in terms of playoff success for MEAC teams, for HBCUs in general. Do they let that get to them? Does the lights get too bright? Does the pressure get too much? Gets too much for them? And then also too, I'm interested to see just what how motivated the team is going to be, because you've kind of heard this whole consolation prize thing and all that. Is this team going to come in pissed off? But I'm very confident in Central's coaching staff compared to Richmond. I don't think Richmond has the huge coaching advantage in this matchup, if that's what you're asking me, because I think that Howard loss to me was the perfect wake-up call, because that was a Central team that was rolling, coming off a Celebration Bowl win. I mean, everybody was picking them to repeat in the MEAC, not giving anyone a chance. It was almost kind of like a slap in the face, like, man, if we don't come out here and play, anybody can beat us. So I think Trey Oliver is going to have his team motivated. And both of you guys know this. We've all three talked to Trey Oliver. He's going to want to go out there and just show that his team's better than the next guys.
And that's my next question for you, Blue. Talk about North Carolina Central and their coaching staff as well in this matchup.
This is a big test. I know everyone talks about Davius's test in terms of what his NFL ceiling could be or professional ceiling could be. This is a test for Matt Leone too. Can I put that out there? Is we saw Matt Leone, Scotty, me and you talked about this on the roundtable. Matt Leone's game plan for the Celebration Bowl was magnificent.
It was.
He brought out everything. He knew exactly where to attack. He had that thing down to a key. Trick plays, attacking the weaknesses for Jackson. Can he repeat it in the biggest games? Because I understand Davius dislocated his fingers or whatever in that Howard game. This is your opportunity to open up the playbook and go beat a team that you arguably man for man are better than. I need to see Matt Leone get in his bag in this game and let Davius go play, because this is a game for Davius, for Mookie, even some of the defensive guys, but especially Mookie and Davius. This is a tape game where when teams are going to be watching the tape for the NFL draft and everything, they're going to say, how did they play in the postseason? Matt Leone's got to open up his bag, because we've seen him do it in the biggest games. He's got to do it again this weekend. So that's the focus for me, is how does Matt Leone call this game? And we both know the D coordinator, the offensive coordinator, Leone, and those guys, they've been mentioned as potential assistant coaches getting head coaching jobs. They've been brought up as candidates.
Yeah.
This is an audition for them as well.
For you, what went wrong with North Carolina Central against Howard? What was it against Howard that gave them the ultimate benefit of that game to be able to blow them out by 30 points?
I know Josh hates me saying this, but they got bullied. I know people don't like hearing that, but just in terms of their physicality was just different. And then also too, when Davius supposedly, dislocated his fingers or whatever, it kind of took that there's such a balanced offense. It took that possibility of him taking those deep shots away. And Howard's too good of a team where you just let them load the box and you don't offer anything to that secondary, because they have a safety in Kenny Gallup that thrives in that type of, one-dimensional, like, I'm going to come down and knock someone's head off.
Facts.
And then two, Scotty was there. I mean, the environment was amazing. And I think it was one of those cases where the momentum got so far away, there was no stopping Howard at that point. And all season, all Howard heard was fake rings, fake champions, and this and that. I think they came into that game looking to make a statement. And then you combine that with North Carolina Central, one, not playing well, Davius's injury, and the momentum getting away from them. I think if they played 10 times, there's no chance Howard beats them by 30 again.
No, and I mean, being up close and personal, watching it, Blue, the O-line was just it was just a different. it was just a different monster, bro. Like you saw that left side with Dinkler, I think number 55 and
Yeah.
Dinkler. Them two boys, they were lock, hip, and step. It was nothing getting past that left side. And when that boy put that Bama in the bleachers, I said, oh, this is different. I mean, like I said, that's like I have never seen it in my life. I said, this is like The Blind Side. He really ran this man into the cooler. I said, wow. I said, this is different. Howard's not playing with y'all.
You love that as an offensive line coach. That's one, and I said this on my show. If I'm the O-line coach, I'll run your sprints for you. Put him in the bleachers again. I'll take your punishment. I want you to put him in the bleachers as many times as you can, and I'll take the punishment for you.
It was amazing. I ain't never seen that up close and personal. Blue, before we let you go, man, give me your score, give me your prediction, and give me your playmaker of the give me your game MVP.
I think the game MVP is going to have to be, if they win, is Davius Richard. This is his game to insert himself back into that. He was in the All-American Walter Payton conversation before that. Before that Howard game. This is his chance to kind of reinsert himself into one of the top quarterbacks in the subdivision. Man, put me on the spot with the score. I like Central. Give me Central 31-27 over Richmond this weekend. I think it's going to be a back and forth game. It's going to be a physical game, but I like Central. They got the better quarterback. I think they got more weapons offensively, and I think Trey Oliver is going to be on a mission because Trey Oliver's that guy. Just get me one win. Prove we belong on this stage. And that's what they're going to be going for. And then we'll see how the Cards play in the playoffs. Scotty, I've talked about this. Win the first game is just that first step to kind of push you off the ledge, and then you just kind of see where the cards fall. It's all about matchups after that. And if you can go in that Albany game, that's a winnable game. And if they get past Albany, man, I mean, are we saying that they can't compete? Because I think they're in a region that Idaho, Giovanni McCoy's been out. If Idaho's missing Giovanni McCoy, that team is extremely beatable. And then Nichols isn't going to beat Southern Illinois. I'm just going to throw that out there. So it's going to be either Southern Illinois, Idaho in the next round. I think this is the perfect region for them to be put in. I like Central to win this game. We'll talk about Albany next week because I'm really high on Albany too. That's not the same team that Morgan played. I'm telling people, watch the film. Albany is light years better than when they played Morgan. That's going to be a brutal matchup, and it's also going to be a brutal road trip because it gets real cold in upstate New York right now.
Hey, Blue, is there a player that people from the HBCU world should be looking at on the Richmond side? Like, hey, keep an eye on this kid. He's something special, or just a couple of numbers.
Let me think. I'm trying to. Let me see, because they do have one good offensive lineman. I don't know his number off the top of my head. His name's Ryan Call. He's the left tackle, but the guy to watch defensively, number 30, Tristan Wheeler. He's an FCS All-American, over 100 tackles. He's kind of their Bubba. Like he's their Bubba. He's just, listen, he's a linebacker, 6'2", 230. White boy that just looks like he grew up on a farm. Like that's what he is, and he's just going to go get tackles. I think he's had 3 straight seasons of 100+ tackles. That's the guy to watch. Number 30, Wheeler at linebacker is probably going to be their MVP.
Man, that's good. Hey, Blue, as always, man, appreciate you with the big brain.
Hey, appreciate you guys, man. Catch y'all later.
No problem. My bad. Appreciate you, my boy Blue. My boy Blue with the info on Richmond. Man, listen, make sure you guys are tuned in and locked in for that game. Should be some real football being played other than the Pop Warner Classic. But I mean, we know where you're gonna be at. So you ain't gonna have no time to watch the real football game. You know what I'm saying?
I keep up with it.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. All right, people, before we get up out of here, got anything for the people?
Shout out to UFP getting it done, coming back, scoring 22 unanswered points in the fourth quarter. As you see it right here, the Golden Lions were able to end the season with a win, and Coach Alonzo Hampton, maybe it's something to build off of next year.
And then you already know I picked Benedict. He picked Lenore Ryan. We'll make sure we get that on there for next week. All right, guys, listen, we appreciate your time. 3 hours again, P. We rolling strong out here. Rolling strong, my guy. All right, listen, until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Be safe.